SquareHammer.
Ooh, SquareHammers. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Is everything okay? Hello, YouTube. We are going to be talking about the Nova Open. Had a great time. You can see with me down here, I have Abe. He is a writer for Bowls, and he actually is the overall champion for the Nova GT. Congratulations. Yay. And then down here, we have Yong-Duke. He won third best general in the Ard Boyz RTT. And then he also won Best Painted in the GT for the Old World. So welcome, guys. Introduce yourselves. Obviously, I just did, but you know.
I'm Abe.
Yes.
And I'm Yong-Duke.
So today we're going to talk about basically the missions, the comp, how their games went, how sportsmanship was, how strong or weak were the armies they played against, how cordial were their opponents, and basically if they just want to talk some trash about SquareHammer, then they're more than welcome to. I have pictures of all the display boards that I'm going to pull up on here. I have the Excel spreadsheet breaking down everything. I did hide the sportsmanship per round, because then you could go and look up who rated you, so we're not going to do that. But I have almost everything else set up, and if you watch the video that I just put out, I think yesterday, it's like 12 minutes long, of just giving out prizes. You can actually see who won the prizes, but this is you can just see it in its data form. So, what did y'all think of Nova? Abe, you want to start with you? Well, how was it?
Yeah.
How was your experience?
I thought it was great. I thought it was a lot of fun. More fun than I thought it would be, almost.
Nice.
Because
you did win a big sword, so
I did win a big sword. That doesn't hurt. But no, everyone. I think I would say everyone was much nicer and friendlier than sometimes you worry about it being, especially with a new game. And I think I want to give you a lot of props for that, because I know you had the chat and everything and kind of wanted to set that tone. And,
yeah,
and
thanks.
did a lot of work to set that tone, and that's impressive to do that.
So people who didn't know, everyone that was attending Nova the GT, I did my best to find everyone that was actually signed up, and I made a Facebook group chat with everybody so we could all just talk, hammer out rules questions that we just weren't sure, or if people wanted to share their list or talk trash and have their name be written in the book, stuff like that, just to build a little, build something that like people try and be more friendly. What about you, Young? What'd you think, man?
I thought it was fantastic too. The last Nova I went to was like I think 3 years ago before the pandemic.
Okay.
And so going into it, because I've been to so many old world events, I already knew I would say at least half the people going there. So I was looking forward to hang out with you guys, and I thought surprisingly it was way smoother than I thought it would be. Because I'd known in the past for like Middle Earth or other game systems, um, typically people run over the clock a bit, so then everything's pushed back. But this one felt like, maybe besides a couple tables, right? Because you were announcing, hey, we're an hour in, you should be at turn 3. I think that actually was really well done. It made people aware. Like for me, one game playing against a Tis Mortuary cult, I'm like, oh, we were just told let's pick it up a little bit because now we know the time. So
yeah, I tried to do it. So they were 3-hour rounds with 2,500 points. I tried to do every hour. So you have obviously the start of the game, then you have 2 hours left, 1 hour left, 30 minutes left, 15 minutes left, and then maybe 5 minutes left. It just depended on if people were still playing at that point. But I tried to help everyone else out, because most people, you're trying not to look at the clock too much. You're actually trying to like finish the game. So I'm glad they had a microphone there. They didn't have that last year, so that was huge. So I could just like yell. Was I loud? I couldn't. Obviously, you can't really hear yourself because you're the one speaking in the microphone. Was it too loud, too soft?
I think it was perfectly fine.
Yeah,
for like
I
the
can hear
area
you.
we're in.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So
I think mostly we were always in my games, we were always chuckling because you'd be like, and it's an hour in, you should be in like round 2, and I'd be like, oh, we've about to roll for first turn right now.
Ugh, that's so bad. Ugh. Yeah, so every hour you should be getting in 2 turns. Like that is the first couple turns are slower because you're still deploying and you have like all the units still left, but it should start to speed up. It should start to speed up. Let's see. Okay, so Abe down below, he's a writer for Bowls, and you said you've been doing that for, did you say 16 years?
About 16 years, yeah.
Wow, that's a long time. So
Yeah.
I know a lot of people hate on Bowles for, is it like ads or something? I read your article and that he just
Yeah.
wrote and posted about. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, talk about your article.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I talked about the game, or about the event. You can check it out. I've posted in some of the groups, or it's on Bowls, and it's just a rundown of the event. So yeah, but yeah, some people hate on us for ads or hot takes or whatever. I mean, we've gotten more aggressive at you know, banning people who cause problems, and some
Banhammer.
people yeah, over
Yeah,
the years. But we've been
sure.
around for since 2006.
Right.
So we're old, we're established.
Yep.
And
No matter how
know,
successful or unsuccessful something is, people are going to hate
yeah,
on you. So
people
just,
are going to hate on you,
yep,
and the fact is, we're a full-time job, for not for me, but for a lot of people.
right.
For it's part-time for me, but we pay our writers, and that's why we have ads.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And we don't charge readers anything. So
And for Young Duke, he has a YouTube channel. It's just called Young Duke. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I think I
Just my
saw
name.
I
So
saw during the games you were filming. So are you like
yeah.
recording turn by turns? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I'm very lucky. All my opponents are really gracious about it. But I usually record it up to, deployment, talk about their list, and then I think the max we got was to turn 4. Usually by that turn 3 plus, I tell my opponent, hey, I know we're low on time, so let's just wrap it up. I'll record at the end.
Okay,
But I know a few of my friends were pretty impressed that the guys actually were willing to talk about even some of their tactics throughout the game on recording.
that's cool.
Because for me, I didn't hide a lot of stuff. I'd say, hey, I'm gonna do this just because I don't have time to like change my like tactical idea.
Right.
So now you have a chance to maybe respond to it. But I managed to record all 8 games, pretty much show at least minimum all 3 turns, and then like a recap usually at the end. So
Real quick, Abe, are you on YouTube? If not, I will pop up. Someone's wanting a link to the article in the chat.
yeah, I'm not really on you. I mean, I'm not particularly currently on YouTube.
Okay.
Um,
No, I just meant like yeah, I'll try and find the article. Hold on.
yeah.
well, if they're
Just
in the Warhammer the Old World Facebook
Uh,
group, they'll see Abe post all of his
ah
articles all the time. So
yeah.
they
I
should
can.
okay.
be
I
able
can.
to.
Oh, in the chat. Yeah, I can post it in the chat. Give me one
Yeah.
second.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I might be able to,
Yeah. Okay.
let's
I,
see.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean a YouTube channel. I just meant like,
Yeah.
Oh, I found it. Hold on.
Okay.
Link to the article is in the chat. Please enjoy the article. Okay, so before we go through the tournament results, because that'll make people leave sooner, we're gonna move to look at some pictures and see what everyone. Pictures. Hey, I did it. Nice. Gotta move some stuff around. Make us a little smaller. I know. Sorry, guys. Okay, so this was Andrew. I think this was Saturday morning. Apparently there was about, I think there was 3 of them. He's sitting in front of Vince's awesome little paint chest there. But he was painting late Friday night, and even I think a little bit Saturday morning. I think that's Saturday morning when everyone's waiting for pairings to go up, which is hilarious. So gotta earn those points for on the paint comp. So this was Andrew's Skaven. So I had Zach take some photos while we were judging everyone. Young Duke helped me judge painting because when the display boards were up, I had to kind of rush. A lot of people were like ready to leave, and they didn't want to leave their display boards and their armies out overnight. So, which is totally obviously reasonable. But Andrew had a pretty cool list. But he did a great job. He looked at the painting rubric and he was like, I want to score as high as I can this year, because last year I had the painting rubric and his stuff was painted, but it wasn't not to this level. So it's like all of the storm vermin have really cool warp blades. I wish I could get better pictures for y'all. Hopefully Andrew can post them, or I will post some better ones for y'all too. But it's like a whole bunch of mud, and everyone loves the, what he did with. I don't know if y'all can see what I'm looking at. Can y'all see?
Yeah.
It might be a bit on
I
a delay.
can't.
YouTube's on a delay, so you won't see it first.
Yeah.
But um, anywhere to share this with y'all? Probably not. You just have to see. But he did, like, if you look at a Skaven city, it's like all of the shambly, shaky wooden structures with like just wood everywhere, just like a huge rat nest, obviously. And he did a great job with the mounds and everything. And I want to see him do more with that display base. It looks really cool. Like even if he just has like some warp stone coming out the little mounds here, and you have like a little slave with a pickaxe, like just hard like mining it for it
Yeah.
would be sweet. Who's next? So this one actually won Best Painted at Ard Boyz. This is Todd's. He did the Carnival of Chaos, and they look great. A ton of conversions, a ton of freehand, and just the buildings and everything just add so much to it. So Carnival of Chaos, if I'm not mistaken, was Mordheim warband back in the day, and they were pretty strong, if I remember right. I think that's when you could run like the, was it like a cart, some kind of cart?
The plague cart. You had a
Plague cart, that's it.
Yeah.
Does he have one on the board? That would have been sweet if he had a play card. They're pretty
He
rare.
had two he had two chariots he converted that I recorded in Newport maybe like 2.5 weeks ago.
Okay.
But they just didn't make the list. But they were really cool looking. So he
Yeah.
did a lot of conversions.
So like, look at the freehand of this banner. It's awesome. He's got the old school dragon ogres. I think he put like a lot of marauders on.
Yeah.
What does it say? Enter if you dare. You know, like that classic, you know, scary theme park kind of thing. Carnival, obviously. Like he did a great job. And I think there's another picture. So the pictures weren't in order for some reason when I tried to do the slideshow, but whatever. This is Mike's Lizardman. He didn't have enough stuff for Skaven or Swarm, so he kind of just did one snake per, which is fine. Whatever. It's legal, I guess.
It works.
It's fine. It works. He ran like a monster mass. I think he had. Oh, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He had 5 monsters on the field. Then some swarms, a bunch of skinks, and a slan. It's pretty cool. Oh,
what's the giant guy with that like in the corner? There's like a blue dude with a giant mace-looking thing. The left corner.
That's his.
Over here.
Oh, the Croxagore.
The Croxagores.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa, the huge.
Those are the new Croxagores. They are massive.
Oh,
massive. Like it's
okay,
if they're standing up to the old ones, it's like a baby. It's like a child compared to standing next to these guys. It's these things are incredible looking.
Holy God. Okay.
But they're huge. I don't know how well that he did with them. I know their weapons. There might be AP3 base or something, but I don't remember. They're pretty cool though.
I played him round 1, and the Croxagores didn't do amazing.
Okay. Sorry, Mike.
I'm not
you
sure.
suck with the Croxagores.
No, I don't know why he. I mean, I should have asked him. I don't know why he was running them in a 2x2 block. I never figured that out.
They're not stubborn, are they?
No, I don't believe they
They're
are.
cold-blooded.
Cold-blooded.
Yeah.
Cold-blooded. Okay. So here's all the prizes. I had the 4 engraved swords. I had the wooden spoon, and then everything back here. I had like Blues Bazaar over here because I had to make up some money. So I was selling some of my old collection. But and Yong actually gave me a Zote, a new and blister Zote. Yeah, it's like he just came up to me after, was like, "Thanks, man, you did a great job." And was like, "Here's the Zote." And I was like, "What? You're just giving me a Zote?" Thanks, bro. Like, it's sweet. So yeah, I was given these by GW when I had that thing, but no one. I don't think anyone's actually buying these movement trays, so I wasn't going to sell them. I just gave them away as prizes because it's like I think it was like $40 for just 2 sheets of plastic, which.
Well, you're gonna laugh, Blue. All of my movement trees are the GW movement trays, so I still like using them.
Do you really?
Cut them.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll shut up then. That's fine.
I have some.
Really? Wow.
Well, I maybe I didn't. Maybe they sent them to me, but
okay, that's fair.
Once they sent me some, I was like, they all got a match, so I got to get.
That's understandable. A cool KR case. I gave the BattleTech. I should give him the book too, but I think the book comes in this box. I gave the BattleTech box to the last place guy just because I thought that would have been funny. The hammer was more expensive than the swords, and that's something that wasn't intended to be price support. It was just to bring people over because from far away they see this cool hammer. And then I just handed out all this stuff. But cool. Oh, this was Simon's. This is Minions. All the Minions. Some people, I think it looks cool. He did a very good job with it. Obviously, it kind of pulls you out of the immersion, which is kind of a
Yeah.
problem. Um, but he also had a printout and a label for each one of his units as to what it actually was on the battlefield. But it's still a little confusing because you have to keep looking to see like, oh yeah, that's this, that's these guys, so they only have this, this, and this. But he did such a great job with it. I was like, okay, like that's a lot of effort you put into a minion army. Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a beautiful army. I mean, I think he originally built it as a Chaos Dwarf army, and it
Right.
screams a little more Chaos Dwarf to
Yeah.
you when you look at it. I had actually assumed from a distance that it was a Chaos
Yeah.
Dwarf army. He's running it as Empire now,
Yeah.
which is an advantage of having an army like that you
Yeah.
can swap it out. Some
True.
people like that, some people
I
don't.
think
But I mean,
hobby
it's a really
wise, I respect it. Yeah, hobby wise,
yeah.
a lot of love was put into it. I did
Mhm.
hear a lot of people. It's just hard to read, even with like a flow chart. So like on
Yeah.
a glimpse, if you look up and you don't know what it is, it's a little bit, immersion breaking, right? But
Yeah.
hobby
Yeah,
wise, he did a lot of hours. I won't disrespect that, but it is
absolutely
immersion
beautiful.
breaking.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
And he's a really nice guy because I played him too,
mhm.
and he's a really fun game. But yeah, definitely a little immersion breaking and like, but that's part of the fun of some GTS is
True.
Yeah.
if you get the Hello Kitty Marines or you get the Minion guys or something, right? I mean,
Yeah. It's fair. Oops.
I played a guy, years ago at a GW event. I played a guy who all his drop pods were like flower pots with like little plastic flowers sticking out of them
Wait,
and
what?
stuff. Yep.
Okay.
So there's a lighter side to the hobby too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I figured. Yeah. I think he was the only army that had
Yeah,
something like that. So I was like, maybe one is okay for the lighter side of the hobby. And if it's
yeah,
going to be one, if obviously if it wasn't done as well as his was, then I would have been like, no, sorry.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
like it was done so well.
It was,
That's fine.
it's done beautifully, and it wasn't like I'm just trying to cheap out or it, like, right? Like
Yes.
it
Yeah.
Right.
wasn't
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy My Little Pony and stick it on a
No,
thing
no,
and call it
exactly. Yeah.
my yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, if it was like a half-ass, just quick contrast, yeah, don't put it on the table. But
yeah.
obviously, you
Hmm.
highlighted, you did all this like lava basing, so you went above and beyond with a well-made display board. So
Very. Yeah.
you deserve the credit at least for that.
Hmm.
Mhm.
All right. Next, I don't remember whose this was. There's going to be some that don't have the names there, so I don't recall who they were. If y'all recognize them,
This is a
please.
Victor's. This is
Is it
Victor. I
Victor's?
played this.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was what's the yellow? What are the yellow wolves?
So they're just like a dire wolf, but I don't know if it's like a unit champion, like a serial,
Okay.
or if he just did that. Now, one thing my YouTube commenter told me, I completely forgot. Zombie dragons on a very small base. They should have been on the Terrorgeist base. I didn't notice that until my YouTube comment guy mentioned like the vampire on the dragon.
This
He's
one
on the
back here
chariot
in
base.
the very back.
Next to the Mortis engine, he should be on like the Terrorgeist,
Oh,
that
really?
big base. Yeah, yeah. One of my
Ah,
YouTube commenters said, yeah. So I didn't pick it up throughout the game. I thought that was the base they came
hmm.
on, but then I was told it should be on that that
Bad
huge
Victor.
base.
Bad Victor.
He's a great opponent though, so I love playing with him. But
That's good.
Zombie Dragon in the corner over there, yeah.
Yeah, because he has the. Is this a Terrorgeist? Is the one like that's on the little chapel? Is that one actually a Terrorgeist, or what does he use
Yeah,
that for?
that's a Terror guys, that big
Okay.
one on the big base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Victor. We're gonna have a talk. No, we're not. But okay, so this was I didn't know how to pronounce his name. Is it just Kenyon? I don't know. It's Kenyo something, but we're gonna call him Duncan. He had a massive ice beastman army. And they were cool. I thought it wasn't the super nasty beastman list, but this one was neat. A lot of snow bases. Obviously, it didn't match his display board, so it was an easy. It's tough. So if you have to fly somewhere, it is really hard to use a display base. So you either just say screw it and you don't bring one and you lose out on those points, or you like have to ship it and that's expensive and there's all sorts of issues
Yeah.
I think if you start like adding in display boards into paint comp. So I might kind of remove that. That might be like a tiebreaker or something, or extra points for something. But
Y-
it does
You'll
seem hard. It does seem hard.
you'll see my display base later that I had to fly with that was about 2 centimeters, just basically fit in my bag.
Oh,
I had to buy like 4 different bases to see which one would fit, and you will see how my army does not really it made it for my army, but my army does not fit on that display base. Yeah,
so
but
this one is I think this one is John Marshall's. Is that right? I could be wrong on the name, but I like whenever you have the bases like insert inside the display base. I thought that always looks cool, just like they're actually there. I think he actually at the very back had a little chapel. Did not get in the picture, but just another nice Bretonnian army. And they're kind of just ready for battle. You got all the archers and stuff on a hill, and you got all the knights leading the charge. This is Julian's. He had a cool, and I'll post all these pictures, guys, just so you know. And this might be taking too long. If this is taking too long, let me know in the chat, and we can just like skip ahead, and I can just post the pictures, obviously. But maybe I'll get to some of the. There you go. This one's Abe's right here. Right? Is this one yours?
It'll take a second for me to see.
I think this one's yours.
Yeah, I'm looking at Ogre Kingdoms right now. So
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
see
It'll
it.
it'll come up. It'll come up. Oh yeah. There's always a delay. Na, 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 na. If Dylan Shannon, hey
Yeah.
Dylan, what's up, man?
Yeah, that's mine. Yeah. So yeah, you can see that the army does not entirely, it just barely fits.
Real
Very
quick,
clumped up.
Ray, that's a good question. Young-Duke, why are you at the gym?
Oh, my hobby basement. I always have a like workout station. So
Okay.
when I'm like back hurts, I just work out and then come
Nice.
back.
Do you even lift?
So, I do.
No,
I do. But I'm a small boy. I'm a small man.
I'm a small boy? What? Come on, don't call yourself a small boy. Holy
Dude, I've been
crap.
in the same shit for being like a high schooler still, so it is what it is.
That's fair.
So,
That's fair. Okay, so yeah, this is Abe. You said is this just really thin? What were you talking about having to fit in your suitcase?
Oh yeah, so it just barely fits in my suitcase. So that's the like the widest I could make it to fit in
Okay.
the suitcase.
Okay.
So you can see the army is very very
Cramped?
smushed on there, and there's no there's not a lot of room. I really wanted to get like a farmhouse or something on there, you know.
yeah.
And
Well,
and I
take
couldn't
less
do anything
nights.
like that. Yeah, maybe, yeah.
No,
So I've got
they're too good.
a bigger base for driving events. that
Okay.
I'll make,
Okay.
but for the flying,
And you're in Ohio, is that right?
I'm in Ohio, yeah.
So if anyone is in Ohio, hit up Abe and
Yeah.
try and get a game, play some games, learn how to play the game versus the overall champion. All right. Oh, and you had some cool. Back here is his story. He kind of wrote something about his army, and he had some wine because you dressed up as was it a merchant, like a wine merchant? I guess.
So like the story was like they're mercenaries, and I was the wine merchant who hired them to be my bodyguard. So I printed out like labels of like in-universe Bretonnian wine and put them on wine bottles. So all my wine was like
That's awesome.
actually from like, I don't know, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay or something.
Yeah.
Was there Go Check and Felix wine bottles.
It was very cool. It helped your theme. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It gave you some theme points. But your army list was disgusting.
It was disgusting.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
disgusting. This dwarf army, I wish it wasn't blurry down at the bottom right, but this dwarf army was also gorgeous. It was really between, I can't remember if he played in Ard Boyz, but I think he did. It was between him and Todd for best painted, and I almost gave it to this guy. It was so close. A lot of these armies, yeah. So a lot of these armies from the 3-4 foot rule, you could tell they looked good, and then when you got in closer, some of them started to fall apart a little bit, but some of them were just like, there's highlights on like every single little piece, and obviously Young-Duke can attest to that, but you could see, and there was extreme details in like over the whole army for some of these guys.
Yeah.
So it was very impressive for a lot of these guys. Oh yeah, this was a sweet corn army with some Zinch in there, and it's all blue with a lot of people really were complimenting him on the blue/purple army with the red bases, and it just popped like really well.
Yeah, this is Trace's army.
Yeah, right.
Like, he had a really nice one too.
Did either of y'all play him?
No. But I was watching. He played Mixture quite a bit, so I could kind of poke over and watch his games.
Yeah.
So.
He was going for that +1 strength rate. That is correct.
Very Realm of Chaos-y, though.
Andrew said, I assume this is towards you, Young. Small but mighty. Small but mighty.
I'll take it.
Probably what your fiance says. All right. Next. You don't have to laugh. It's okay. Oh, so apparently this skeleton was like going around It just ended up at all these tables. I don't know if y'all saw this guy. Someone lost a skeleton warrior. I have no idea where he ended up. So hopefully it's okay. I don't know if someone's missing a skeleton warrior. It might have gone. It might have been thrown in my box. I don't know. If you are, let me know and I will get it to you. I do have to ship Abe something. I'm really reluctant to do it, but I do have his awesome prize here. He couldn't really take that on a flight, but I do have that here. I'm going to try and ship it to him. I'm actually leaving out of town tomorrow, so next week I will get that to you 100%.
Yeah, whatever.
Hopefully it's not too bad. I'm guessing. I'm going to guess it's going to be like $40. That's what I guess.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Young?
Oh, he don't need a sword. He got the title.
That's right. You don't need the sword. I'll keep it here with me. Hey, you know what? We'll use it for next year's.
Next year, yeah.
If you're truly worthy, you'll win it again. Truly worthy. No.
We'll see.
Here was just a cool Chaos Army, well-based. Oh, this is earnings. So, what some people do, if you have to fly and you don't have a display board, you ask a buddy to borrow if they have a display board that kind of matches their basing. You borrow theirs, and I think that's totally fine. And these trees that you see on the base, he just walked around and grabbed some trees that were used as terrain on the mats and just put them on his display base. I've seen plenty of people do that in other tournaments, and it's fine. It makes your army look better, so whatever. Good job. And he's actually painted a whole bunch. I know he has some of the new trolls. Not trolls, the new spawn, like the huge spawn for the new Warrior Chaos stuff. He actually owns some of the old Forge World ones. So those things are really good. They're so cheap. They're like a better dragon. Yeah. Oh, yep. It was John Miller. And there's his Pegasus at the back, his little chapel, I think, and then some extra characters. Cool. Here's Zach's Wood Elves. Y'all have probably seen these before. He's been running these guys for a while, but in the GT, he used them as High Elves. So he had like Shadow Warriors and some other stuff. Peter actually made a new display board. It looked really good. He changed it up from his last one. He added a moat and like this long kind of like Helm's Deep road up to the castle gate, which is kind of cool. Hopefully there's another picture as we go. This was Tim's. Either of you play Tim?
The Mortuary Cult?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm playing him.
Okay, how was that? How was playing Tim with his Mortuary Cult?
I wish we play on Ard Boyz and not the comp, because in Ard Boyz, I had all level 4s and 5s, and the comp, all my guys got downgraded. But it was a really fun game, actually.
Right.
Very close. I think there was like a 200-point difference, so 11-9 loss. So it was really close in there. But
that's a close game. I think he got. Did he get? It was either second or third best general in the GT.
I think he got second. Yeah.
Was it second?
Yeah,
so he won a plaque.
Yeah,
he got a plaque.
Even with the comp, they're so nasty with the casting values, and then because of rare, they're taking almost like 1,000 points of rare units because they have 33%, and then the network strengths for special. So it surprised me. But his armor is really well painted too. I give Tim credit a lot. It looked really nice on the table.
Yeah, when you got closer, you could see like all of the battle damage slash just age on the shields and everything. You could actually see there was like brown and like rust and all sorts of like the paint chipping and stuff. It looked good close up. I think it looked better close up than it did further away. That's my
because his board is so sandy already. They kind of blend in.
Yeah.
But when you play on a normal table, they pop out more. So
it's that Tomb King camouflage. You gotta camouflage with the desert at long range, right?
Oh, something that did happen. The lights went off. Was that day 1 or day 2?
That was like round 1, wasn't it?
Was it round 1 when that happened?
I think so.
What happened for round 1?
You don't remember when like all the lights in the whole middle of the whole room shut off?
Yeah. First game.
Yeah, was that first game? Oh man,
it was.
I walked to the.
I was recording.
Were you? You were recording when that happened?
And then Victor held his flashlight above.
So I don't remember what the Age of Sigmar guy said, but I went up on the mic and so everyone could hear him, and I said everyone's at -1 to hit. But then someone nearby in the Old World event said, hey, you might want to tell people that you were just joking because someone might actually do that. And I was like, I don't think they actually will, but if they do, I mean, that's on them. So, but that was fun. It's
If it was a
Todd's
narrative
again.
event, that would have been great.
Yes.
I mean,
I think a narrative event would be cool.
mhm.
But whatever. Maybe next year instead of Ard Boys, we do like doubles or something
Oh yeah, that'd
because
be cool.
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough because Friday only had like 30 some players. So I don't know if that's because it was a Friday and obviously not the weekend, or people were just didn't want to play that many games in a row. And I understand both arguments. So we'll see. We'll see what people want to do. Any suggestions from y'all?
Well, 8 games pushed it because my voice is still recovering. So I think that was my mistake. I think doubles would be cool just because Lord of the Rings did that actually. Friday was their doubles tournament
Okay,
in the main GT. So maybe something to consider because I do know coming into the GT, I was already exhausted
sure.
from the day before. So
You went a
Yeah,
little
I
too
mean,
hard.
yeah.
I
I
hear you.
remember. I mean, I didn't. It's hard. I remember playing in like a Baltimore GT where they did the first like actual GW Ard Boys and playing that before the Baltimore GT and
Okay.
playing 8 games like that is hard. So I mean,
Yeah.
Fridays are rough.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I originally had signed up and I was an idiot and didn't actually realize it was a holiday weekend at all until
Mm,
like a month before, and then I was like, oh, I can't get a hot Friday off because everyone.
um,
I waited too long, and then everyone was like, well, we want the 4-day weekend, and I was like, ah,
yep.
shoot, like. Um, that was me being dumb, but
That's all right.
yeah, I think
Happens.
doubles is fun. I think of narrative. I mean, I hope ideally all of those, but let's do a
Yeah.
5-day event. But
Yep.
and then we'll all just
Five
die.
5-day
5
event?
day, you do an Ard Boys one day, you do a
Ugh.
doubles, and then you
Doubles.
do then narrative, and then 2 days of the GT, right?
All right. I'm not writing them all, but so then I can play a little bit.
Yeah,
Let's do that.
yeah,
Let's do that.
yeah.
That'd be fun.
But I think mixing up is great, and gives people different things, and
Yeah.
I think I mean I think maybe the doubles or narrative is a little better because if the GT is already swinging a little harder,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
but
Okay. I know. So this is Andrea's, and they won. I think it was second best overall.
second overall, yeah.
Yeah. So second overall was once I get to the score sheet, I can show everyone what the breakdown was. But basically, for paint, they had a display board, so they got like a point for that. They didn't have obviously didn't match their theme, but so they don't get a point for that. But they at least had a display board, and that's like 1 point right there. But
Yeah.
then the army was cool. I can't remember who makes these movement trays, but I've seen them before, and I almost bought them. But they're just really cool because they have all the hieroglyphics for Tomb Kings, and very pretty army. Very pretty army. All right, next. Back to that. This was Vince's dwarves. I think he 3D printed all of this stuff. So let's see if there's another picture of it. No, but it's basically a dwarven hold, or you could even think it's like a Mines of Moria kind of thing.
Mhm.
Under the mountain. He
And he
did.
told me like his board is completely modular, so he wants to build it even taller and taller, and then he can change it up.
That's awesome.
So
That's rad.
He did let us use some of his terrain, which is awesome. And thank you again for everyone that brought terrain and mats. Like, huge. I needed it. When we expanded to 80, it's not that I bit off more than I could chew, but I just needed to ask the community to help out, and they came through. Y'all came through, so I appreciate that. We've already looked at these. Oh, this is Peter's again, but a different angle. I think this is all foam. Did a great job. Great job. And I'll post all these pictures. Hopefully that's it. Hey, we're done with pictures. Great. I don't see why is Young's not in here.
I think I'm posting mine too much. So you can look it on the Facebook group. You can watch my
Oh,
YouTube.
okay.
You don't need to see it anymore. I feel I'm beating people over the head trying to show it, so it's okay.
That's interesting. I'm surprised it's not there. Yeah, but I feel like I gotta show it. Gotta show it. Nova, whatever. It's gorgeous. So go to his YouTube and you'll see him on like all the big Facebook groups. So you'll see it there. Okay. So now that that's done, we can go over the Excel sheet, which looks weird at the moment. Hold on. Oh, it's because I had bowls up. That's right. So let's see what's the best way for everyone to see this. Probably like so. A little bit of a challenge to get this in correctly, but so first, sportsmanship, and we're looking at everyone's sportsmanship, so we can see who was. And I don't mind shaming people because it's like, hey, maybe I should be a little bit friendlier. It's fine, like deal with it. So y'all can see what y'all got. I right now obviously it's just filtered, so you can only see the people who actually scored. Oh, Michael posted in the chat the Croc scores are AP2, but they were 2x2 because it looked better.
Yeah, fair enough.
There you go. Make it the Stanley sword. What's the Stanley sword?
I
And
think
a
that's the
Stanley
cup,
Cup.
whatever the
Yeah.
owner, the winner gets
Yeah.
it for a year or something.
Oh, that'd be cool.
We could do that with the next sword, you know.
That's a good idea. I should do that. Like a shield maybe, and just have like the shield as the winners, but then they still get like maybe a cool sword or something.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I'll do that. And then I'll also add people's names in from this year onto the shield because this is the first year, so that makes sense. Good idea. Good idea. So we can see Abe, sportsmanship 20, paint 10. So basically 25 is the max you could get on paint. And that is like a way above and beyond. If y'all have read this paint rubric, it's live for everyone to go see. You have to, a lot of the, to get a point, it says, for example, are there any conversions or kit bashing in the army? You get a point. Like even if there's one, is the majority of it done with that conversions kit bash? And then the last one is everything done? So if you had basically all of those, so if you just have one model painted or converted, or if it has, if you have one model with freehand, then you get the point. So that's why Young Duke was the only one to basically get everything. Crushed it, crushed it. So I don't remember everyone that did cosplay, but I think I got everyone. But you can see that Abe, congratulations, overall champion. Well done, well done.
Thank you.
Young Duke in the pink, just because they were Zinch, so I made it pink for you. Got best painted. Congratulations, good job. Andrea got second best general with his Tomb Kings. Andrew. Okay, so this is my favorite part about doing the scores like this. Some people have no idea that they were going to win a sword. So if you see when I was handing out the swords, Andrew walked up and was like, "Really?" He was like shocked that he won a sword. And I love that because they're just like, okay, I guess I win a sword. So it was very cool. He got third best. Luna got best general and best costume. I still need the picture. Someone took a picture of everyone standing up there, and I don't know who took it. So please send that to me. Luna was dressed in I think was it the Fey Enchantress or was it just like a prophetess or
Maybe
a
just
I thought it was a
damsel or something.
damsel or like
Yeah.
damsel?
something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah. She was huge.
Yes.
Like very tall.
Because I think Luna had like 4 or 5 inch like platform shoes, basically 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
After the shoes, it was massive. But you can see Vince and Nate both scored 25 on sportsmanship, and they just killed it. That was awesome. And then Duncan, obviously, he gets the wooden spoon. He was 0 and 5, but he was the only one who hadn't got a win that basically didn't drop from the event. We started with like 60 some people, and then people just started dropping because I don't know, they just didn't have a good time versus who they played against, or they just got disheartened. But a ton of people, I think I handed out maybe like 10 lottery prizes. So and I only gave those to people who didn't win anything. So there's a good chance you can still actually win something if you just like hang around, have some fun with people. Don't go in this you can go in this trying to win everything, but if you just go in with like a happy-go-lucky thing, you can still win something. So that's what I'm trying to push here.
Yeah.
Obviously there's going to be different, like, not, I guess, cliques within the community of like, these groups, these couple people are going for best general, these are going for best painted, these are going for best sport, all that stuff. So just try and find your balance, find your niche. I don't know, something like that. Do y'all have any? Give me something. What do y'all want to say? Let me pull this up.
No, I mean, like, I guess I would also say, like, it's great to stick around, but also don't feel shame if you need to drop for some reason. Like, if you're just having a bad time, like, don't force yourself to play also. Like, I would hope that if you that it
Force
like
yourself.
hopefully if you've come to the event, you know, you can figure out a way to find a fun time, and hopefully the next player is going to be better or something, and like you're not in it just to win. But like if you're just miserable or, you know, not feeling well or something, like don't like beat yourself up, you know, like
Yeah,
I'm on
um
the slight
it's a
belief that
game.
it is
have
a
like
game.
realistic expectations coming in though, right? Like if you're having a
Mhm.
bad game, let's for example, if you take just Beastmen Gores, like a whole army of like traditional, and like you're hyping up, oh, I'm gonna at least place top 10, right? I think you might get disheartened, well, obviously, because your expectation was too high in the meta. So then you want to drop, right? So I
Yeah,
think just prevent that. Just prepare
Yeah.
yourself. If you want to have a good time, go in with a good time, fun list, and just laugh at bad stuff. But don't come in with that slight idea of, oh, I'll hit the top three with this list. Well, if you didn't practice or you don't know the meta, then obviously you're not gonna actually hit that goal, and then you're gonna be upset the rest of the time, and then you probably want to drop, and
I
then
agree.
it just snowballs from there. So
Absolutely. And I mean, like, I would recommend like at least get through a couple games, because like
yeah, for sure.
you'll probably bet more likely if you're not there to be super competitive or something, or you have a
Yeah,
fun list, like you'll more likely find your niche
yeah,
a game or two in, where like you come and play the first game, and you know you get match up with everyone, right? So you might get
Yeah,
matched up
mhm,
with the most hardcore player there, and
yeah,
like that could not be a fun match for you. But hopefully
yeah,
after that you'll get to,
yeah.
you know, if
Play
you're just there to
softer
have fun.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, so, you know, stick with it if you can, but you know, don't make
yeah.
yourself miserable. It's
No, of
yeah.
course. Yeah, like if you're really feeling bad, better
Yeah.
leave. Make one opponent have also a bad time if you're gonna
hmm
complain the
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, you know, I know some people did have bad times and stuck it out, and,
yeah,
yep.
and have fun times after that. I think, you know, so
And
mhm.
I would say some people had genuine excuses. Like some people, like
Mhm.
not
No, of
excuses, but
course.
reasons, like family members, or they had to go into work,
Yeah,
and like stuff like that sucks
mhm,
because I feel bad for
Yeah.
them because
yeah,
obviously this is secondary. It's just a hobby. It's not like real
yeah,
life. So if you have more pressing things, obviously, if you need to
yeah,
go, please go. Take care of your business. And then even if you wanted to come back as a ringer, like if you had to leave for like day one and you only got to play 2 rounds, but then on Sunday you were able to come back, you're more than welcome to come back, play as a ringer. Or if someone else is around that also dropped, play a pickup game nearby. Like that's cool. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. And it shows that you're not dropping just because, well, yeah, I don't know. If you're having a bad time, like talk to me. Let me know
Yeah.
yeah.
if you think your list is amazing and you think you're going to get top 10 as Young was talking about. Uh, I have no problem telling you, even if I could be wrong, like, hey, your list is not like it's not going to
Yeah.
make it. You're not going to make it.
Yeah.
It's okay. Obviously, the general skill level, the general's skill level is very important too, but list is also very important in Warhammer Fantasy. So
What's the suit? Yeah.
list is huge. So, but let's go through. So Young is the only one that scored 25 on the paint, which is awesome. Congratulations. I think the next person was actually let's do this one. Next person was 21 with Todd, and then Andrew, who'd been working a buttload on his, got a 20, which is pretty cool. Um, and 25 is a max, obviously. So Todd did great with his because he had all the buildings and all the freehand and everything. Peter did really well with his new display board. Jarrett's Empire, there were so many armies. So Jarrett's Empire, I think his was one of the armies that it looked good from 3 to 4 feet. But then when you got down close, you could see all the blending and all the highlights a lot better. So when I got close, I was like, whoa. Like I wasn't expecting it to be that good when I got closer. So that was very impressive. Um, Simon's was just everywhere. So he did a really good job on his work. I tried to exclude the immersion part to not include that in the game
Yeah.
score, just like how was the actual hobby. Um, but you will see, look how close this was for the total. So, uh, battle points, as in your article you mentioned, you scored 110 and Luna got
Mhm.
92. So I didn't give best general to you, obviously,
Sure.
because best general I went straight on wins and losses.
And
So
Luna deserved that, absolutely.
yeah, so I always
Yeah.
thought that some people do it on like battle points, and I'm like, well,
Mhm.
I didn't lose a game, so this is just my opinion. If you didn't lose a battle in the battlefield, then you win, in my opinion. And then I think tiebreakers is battle points. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I think you can debate either way. I do like the win because I mean, I mentioned in my article that once I went into my final game and I was a lot, you know, you can get into my, you can do what I was kind of doing in my final game against Luna, where I had enough battle points that I didn't need to win that game.
Okay.
And so you want to, I think by if you go by straight wins, then you avoid that mindset, right?
Right.
Like you still have, you can't just be like, I'm in it. Like I wanted to win. I played to win, but I wasn't like trying to get a blowout victory necessarily. I could be a little more cautious. And if you keep it where you have to still win the game to get best general, you can avoid people doing, you know, people
Right.
being like, well, I won a bunch of games earlier. I don't have to care about this game. Like
Yeah.
every game still matters, and I think that's great.
Cool.
Like
Now, if you won your game, then I think you still win best overall because best overall is better than best general.
yeah,
To me at least, right? So my event, I try and make it so the person who destroyed everyone the most is not the champion, right?
yeah,
It's a combination of everything. So if you won your game, let's say your scores were switched, then you still win overall. Then I guess Luna wins third overall. I think that's what happens.
yeah.
No, hold on.
Yeah.
I don't know what would happen. Hold on. Because there were actually a lot of people 4-1. Look at this. There were 7 people that were 4-1. And actually Tim was 4-0-1, 4-0-1.
Yeah.
So I guess yeah, there was just a lot of funky stuff. If you look at the scores, if Ernan just got a little bit better on paint, he was 4.5 points below Andrew. So if he did a little bit better on paint or scored just a couple more victory points, like the differential was just a little bit different, like then he wins third overall. Like this variance is crazy close for like the top 10, or I guess top how many we got here? I just thought it was cool to see how well everyone did. If some people dressed up, if Andrew dressed up, he takes best overall. Like what?
And dressing up was the 10 points is huge actually.
Yeah. Like if he wore a costume, he would have been
Yeah.
best overall. And I told him that, and he was like, "That's cool. Maybe I'll do it next year." Like if I could get like half the contestants to dress up, that'd be so cool. Young, you're dressing up as a demon next year.
Well,
Let's go.
I couldn't figure out how to make a demon look. It's a demon, right? So I don't know how. Besides putting horns, it looks so like so basic. It's so boring too. So I
I
don't
don't
know how
know.
you would do it.
You could be like a Slanesh pet. You could be a pet of Slanesh or something. You could be a
I
little
think you
sex
just
slave.
gotta. Well, no, you're Zinch, so you just gotta like 3D print like or like one of those like origami heads of yourself, and just have a second head over here. And
Oh,
just,
that's cool.
yeah, you know.
Okay. Okay.
I like that. I know Ernan dressed up. He was wearing like a flag from a very like 10, 15 years ago from GW, and he had like a like not a makeup, but I guess for like Party City or something. He had an eye that he taped to his forehead, so
Yeah.
he was doing Zinch, so it was like his third eye kind of thing. That was kind of cool. He said he ran into a Sisters of Battle cosplay person at like the 40K hall, and he like hid his cloak, and he was like, "I'm a navigator." So like obviously 40K uses navigators, but
I think I ran into that Sisters of Battle in the airport actually on the
did
way
you?
back. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. They weren't wearing the costume still, were they?
No, no,
I
they,
was like, what?
we were like hanging out, and they were like, "Oh, you played Old World," and they're telling me that they were doing Sisters of Battle that they're the Sister of Battle going around, and so yeah.
Lazar, you're right. We're gonna do that. Hold on. Can y'all see that on here? I guess not. So yeah, best sport. I just put Chad because I think it's funny. So if you look, so Andrea went 3-2 and still won second best overall. So that's why I'm trying to tell people: don't be too disheartened. You can still score very high if you score well in all the other soft scores. So dressed up, had a huge paint score, and did well on battle points. I think he got 3rd best in battle points. So skyrocketed him up, even went 3-2. You can see Victor and Todd Oops, wrong ones. Both went 2 and 3. But look how high they are in the standings. I guess y'all can't see. Hold on, let me do this real quick. So y'all can see the numbers. There we go. Might help out a little bit. And I'll post this too. I'll post a picture of it so y'all can see everything. Let's see. Battle points. If you go to battle points, which was a determinant of tiebreakers off of after wins, Abe destroyed with 110. Like, amazing. Andrew got 100, which catapulted him up to third best overall. And obviously just went down from there. But like you could see, Chris Jones, I like calling him Jonesy. That's been his nickname for a long time. If he had 127, so if he just dressed up and had a little bit higher paint score, so if that's 137, and let's say he got a 15, so add another like 16 to his score, I mean, he's like right up here. So if you take the comp or the soft score seriously, you can score something. If Andrew did better on his paint, if he dressed up and left his paint where it was, he wins. If he had more paint, he would have been over 150. So I don't know. What do y'all think of could y'all let me know, what do y'all think of I guess the comp scores and soft scores and all that stuff applying to overall stuff? Do y'all like that? Do you think, what do you, give me suggestions, or what do y'all think could be altered?
So I like the soft scores, and that's why for like our event in October, we want to make sure people who focus on the hobby definitely have a chance to get it.
Okay.
And I know I need to confirm it with Todd, but I even want, like you mentioned, display board. I want a separate part where it's best display board for an award, because people who are traveling, let's say Abe, you are restricted by, I'm local, so I could make an 8-foot tower
Yeah.
and drive there. But you would have to make a small board and fit it in. And so I do
Yep.
think soft scores are very important for people who want to put all the effort into the hobby. And then the people who are very competitive, you just aim for your battle points and your wins, right? You don't care about the paint. You're aiming for the bare minimum. You don't care about sportsmanship really, because you're just trying to win. So I like it personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it too. I mean, I think as long as you have the best general, this is a GT. It's not an Ard Boyz, and I think that especially like, old world coming from the legacy of like Warhammer Fantasy, we kind of have a different feel maybe than some other games. Like I think we like a lot of the players like the more friendly atmosphere, to like to have the soft store. So I like that a lot. I mean,
Okay.
there's been events I've gone to where I'm like, I'm going for best general this time. I don't have a great painted army, and there's events like this one where I wanted to do everything. I pull out all the stops, wear a costume and everything, to shoot for best overall. I think the only thing I would say is I wish, I don't know how to do it, but I wish the battle points were a little more important maybe, because it seems like they feed into the into the overall score, but they seem like, I don't know. I don't know. Like it seems I don't know. The weight
So
maybe is a little.
are you trying to say, are you saying that battle points should add more into the title of best general?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say there 100%. I still think
Let's
best
figure
general
it out.
should be.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah,
Let's go. Let's figure it out.
I still think best general should overall go to the person who won the most probably.
Yeah,
but
didn't lose. Okay.
yeah, didn't lose. But I mean, you have a situation where you have someone who wins 5 very close games versus someone who wins 4 blowouts and then loses a close game, or something like that.
Okay.
And it feels like maybe the battle points need more of a reward somewhere, because there's nothing. The battle points themselves don't determine anything, right?
Okay.
They feed into
It'd
your
be a
side.
tiebreaker.
They feed into
Well,
the
how about there's like
overall.
a counter argument though, right? Let's say
Yeah.
that opponent A had 5 close games, and then opponent B had the 4 blowouts and one minor, let's say tie. What if player B, those 2 games were against, like, actually I mean new players, so you blow them out of the water.
Sure.
But then player A fought, let's just hypothetically, like top 20 competitive people majority of the time. So obviously the scores from B would be so much better compared to person A, who would have to, each game, even though it's a win, took a lot more tactical skill and just skill overall than
Fair.
player B who can kind of turn off his mind and be like, okay, after like turn 2, I already have the game. I can kind of cruise by and then give them a good time, but the game is, it's set in stone already.
Mhm.
So that's also a slight issue.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's never going to be a perfect system, right?
Yeah, no, of course,
Yeah,
of course.
Well,
there's no.
I have another
Yeah.
thing. Instead of just so you have best general is the person who
Mhm.
doesn't lose. There could be like best slaughterer or
Yeah.
whatever, and
Oh,
that's just
yeah.
who has the most battle points.
Yeah.
You could do that. So there could just be a separate award between someone who doesn't
Yeah,
lose any games and then who just utterly scores all the
yeah,
points. Because if someone's
Mhm.
scoring that many points, they're usually
yeah.
winning all their games by a large margin.
Right. I mean,
So
I guess,
there could be 2
yeah.
awards for that.
There could be an award for that. I mean, I guess you'd have to also just look at it like,
Mm,
would it? There's an argument that it wouldn't matter, that the person who wins the most points is probably either going to get overall or general. Like, it's probably not super likely that they're gonna not win some other award. So
right.
it may be fine, but I don't hate the idea of there potentially being like a best slaughterer or something for the
There's probably a better
you-
name to that too. I just couldn't think of it.
yeah.
So yeah, if anyone has some kind of scoring that relates to that or a cool
best
name other than best slaughterer, like
best
blessed
noob
by
stomper.
cord, best baby seal. Oh,
Yeah,
baby seal clubber,
clever. Yeah.
baby seal clubber. Um, yeah, but something like
Yeah.
that. Something like that would be
Yeah.
cool. Okay, okay. Do you think how did y'all like sportsmanship? Like, is it
I
the
think
1 to 5
I,
rating too
I think
much, or is it help me out?
yeah. Well, I think it's in the packet. I think Todd said out we're doing sportsmanship a little bit different now,
Yeah, right.
where we don't want people looking at other sportsmanship because you are
Right.
putting external pressure on your opponent. But at the same time, we are making it so that if, for example, you were saying, hey, we're on time to do it in this turn. If you think, I forgot how Todd exactly worded it, but
Okay.
it's along the lines of if you believe your opponent is slow playing you, I have seen it. A lot of people will not openly talk to their opponent because most guys don't want to make it awkward.
Mhm.
But after the event, they'll say something. So I think we're putting a box where once you check it and you submit it separately, the TO now knows your opponent was slow playing you. They'll go talk to that opponent to see what's going on.
Right.
And I think we're doing it so if you get like 2 to 3 of those boxes throughout the event,
Mhm.
you are being punished for battle points. It shows like if people were saying they weren't finishing, you have 3 hours, right?
Plenty of
30
time.
minutes. If you're taking too long, to me, it shows you're not actually a good general because time management is one of the bigger parts. Like if
Sure.
hypothetically, if you gave me 1 whole hour to do my first movement phase, of course I will make sure you will never touch me. Everything's flawless. But that's the point. You don't have the hour.
Right.
You have the pressure of your opponent. You have a clock putting pressure on you. So I think sportsmanship worked well enough. I think we're testing it out for the beltway, but we want to make it so we're like, if you do feel like your opponent was slow playing you or something egregious happened and you don't want to confront them, you just let the TO know discreetly by checking the box off. So
Okay.
then they're aware, hey, like, so if an opponent claims, my 8 opponents slow played me, but you're the one getting checked each time, you're the common denominator, not your 8 random opponents.
I hear you.
That's what are the odds, right? So that's how we're doing it. I do think Nova did it. I think you did it very well, Blue. I
Thank you.
do think they should like an extra step to like help people who don't feel comfortable confronting, their opponent.
Okay.
As for example, like when I played my opponents, everyone's so gracious. I know for one turn against Peter in the beginning, I did apologize saying, hey, I took like probably 20 minutes just to decide, just because we played a lot.
Mhm.
I apologized. He said, no problem, right?
Okay.
Or for my friend Tim, his mortuary cult took so long. He was very gracious about it. He forgot one reserve move, but I had mentioned, hey, it's been like 30 minutes just for like your conjuration phase. So you did move everything else. I think we kind of got to get rolling on, like
Yeah.
stuff like that, though,
That's
right?
fair.
Like I
That's
talked to my
fair.
opponent, but I do think the average person doesn't feel so comfortable just telling your opponent, hey, like don't do that, or hey, we got to hurry up. There's like some social pressure being put on you. So I think having that extra box will help you get, someone else involved.
I agree. What do you got to say, Abe?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the way you did it works. It's a very, I guess, classic way. Like I'm used to doing. I've been to plenty of events that do it similarly. I think the big worry with that system is that as you get in like top tables, is people digging people on sportsmanship
Yeah.
to win specifically if they know that they're close, and then you always worry about that they're going to use that to manipulate the system somehow.
Yeah.
I don't think that happened here, but that's something that can happen. And
Yeah.
either not having sportsmanship be part of the final score, or having more of a this was a good game, this was a horrible game, can address that kind of thing. But I that's the only concern I ever have with a source and script rating, is that someone thinks, I'm going to give this person probably not a 1 instead of a 5, but
hmm
a 2 instead of a 4 or something.
I
And
do believe. Sorry, go ahead.
no, like you said, we were very close at the top, right? Like there was not a huge difference. So someone who was trying to manipulate or something like that could very well it wouldn't take a lot
Yeah.
to swap a score or something. And we're not
Mhm.
playing for money. Hopefully no one's doing
Yeah.
anything like
No.
that.
True.
We're not that.
If you're doing stuff like that, you gotta check yourself, like,
You
morally and mentally, because you're doing the wrong thing.
You're not
a
wrong.
Like,
100%, yeah. um but uh, it has happened at
yeah,
events, like,
yeah,
so
I will say,
that's
I think there was only one person that got a 2, and I did approach. Well, either way, I think only one person got a 2. The average was a 4, which is good. And I will say there were way too many 5s given. Like, I walked around a lot, and
yeah,
way too many 5s were given. So, but that's okay. So, but a 5 is like, this is the best game you've ever played at a
yeah,
tournament, and that
Mhm.
means if you're giving multiple 5s out, then that means the game that you just played that you gave a 5 wasn't as good as the
yeah.
game you just played as a 5. So, I think the
Mhm.
average was
There's one.
4. Most people gave
Yeah.
4s, which is good. And I think there was only 1, 2. There was no 1s I had to deal with, which is good. Um, I did like what. So I read the packet, Young, and I have the link up. I'm going to share the link
Okay.
to your and Todd's um, BCP. I don't remember where the packet is because it's not off of
Yeah.
here.
I'll ask Todd. I think he was still editing it last night, because I
Okay.
think we even changed. So you mentioned too many 5s. One other point was, if you get a 1 or a 5, we're making it so you're gonna write at least 2 to 3 sentences. So there's incentive. Like, why did you give him a 5, or why did you give him a 1?
Yeah.
So if you're too lazy, you're not gonna write the sentence in.
Yes.
So you probably just go back to like a
He'll
normal
knock you down
score.
to a 4.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Or whatever it is.
I've also seen some events where they, at the end of the event, you rank the players, right? This was my favorite, this is
oh,
my
okay,
second, here's
yeah,
the 5 players, so you can only give out one
okay,
5, and that was the best game. That one's a little
yeah,
harder, kind of, because you got to like remember all your games at the end of the event, but I think
Yes.
most people probably can do that. And then that
It's tough
also,
if for an
yeah,
RTT, I think that's easy, but if it's 5 games, you might forget
yeah,
obviously the person's name or what
yeah.
have you. So it's tough.
I mean, luckily BCP makes that easy to fix now.
True.
You can go back and look at their names, at least, unlike in the past. But no, it's definitely harder to remember all your
yeah.
games. And you wouldn't want to. I don't think if you did something like that, you wouldn't want to put it
Mhm.
into soft scores at that point, because
I
I
agree.
think
Yeah.
So Imp,
you would. Yeah.
I agree. We could just call it Skull Taker. Is like whoever has the most
Yeah.
battle points.
Yeah.
You could also do one. I don't know what's more important, battle points or victory points. I know like Brawler Bash is all about victory points. So which one actually means more? Not sure. Uh, Ray, I wish I could remember who you're talking about. I had someone. This is what Ray said. I had someone slow play me at Nova. Okay, took an hour and a half for deployment and his turn one and his turn one. Not even so, just top a turn, and deployment was an hour and a
Jeez.
half. So if that's happening, you need to clock people. So
Yeah.
there's 2 suggestions that were given to me, not by anyone at Nova. If if you know someone is maybe not purposely slow playing, but they are playing slow, you as the TO need to have some clocks on you, and you need to force that person to play on the clock because it's not fair for the other opponent who is only going to get not as many turns in to not get as many turns in. So uh, I agree with that sentiment, and I will probably buy like 5 or whatever chess clocks. So uh, if that does happen, then I will just be like, hey, you'll have to play on a clock. There's nothing you do about it. I do think I will institute if people aren't getting in, if it's 3 hours, I don't care if it's 2,500 points. At 3 hours, you should get in 5 turns every single game. If you're not doing it, then someone is slow playing. So might not be on purpose. You might just be thinking, but like you're thinking too long. So I think if you don't get at least 4 turns like each of your games, I think someone has to start getting docked points. I don't know how to exactly do that. Any suggestions or like what measures you should take?
Again, I think it should be from like the over a course of 5 games. Once you hit like a 2 to 3 games where you've been slow played, immediately, no question, you're docked points. It's the only way to like if you're that competitive anyways and you start losing points, like an immediate, no discussion, you lose, let's say, 5 battle points. I'm just throwing it out there,
Sure.
right?
Right.
If you're competitive, that's a huge point
Yeah.
swing. So now
Yeah.
the last like 2 games, you're like, I have to actually finish it, or the deductions can continue on. Like, it's like all 5 games, you're losing, let's say 10 points flat out because like the whole GT, you just cheated the whole GT basically if you're doing that. So I mean, you just gotta incentivize punishments a bit more. Where like, hey, like if you're
Yeah.
that sweaty, clearly you care about even a point. So punishments have to come into effect,
That's fair.
right?
It's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think docking points is fair. I mean, I've said it in the chat before, and I'll say it again. I personally think that 2,500 points is probably just too big. I think a
Yeah.
Even for
lot of
3
players,
hours?
even for 3 hours,
Ugh.
I think a lot of players would
Ugh.
not. I
Oh,
mean,
oh,
me
oh,
and
Jeez.
Luna are really
yeah.
experienced players, right? And
Sure.
we got 4 turns done. And we were using a chess clock. Like we had a chess clock in our final game. And I
This is one point I can say for Blue then. I do, even though I said in the chat with Abe, I prefer 2K, I've been preaching
Mhm.
it. I think I do like 2.5 eventually, but already throughout the event, so many questions are being asked. It is like, I think if you need, yeah, so if you need like a little bit, maybe after a full 1 year cycle, you should now know enough of the rules where 2.5 is easy. But already, if you have people questioning every little thing, well, at 2K, it's a sizable army, not the most grand, but it should still feel like a game. I think you could hear a lot of people asking, "Hey, how does that work?" I know a couple people throughout my games next to me would ask me questions,
Right.
and I'm like, I don't mind helping, but at the same time, like I'm looking over and this table here is only on turn one. I'm on turn three. So obviously you guys are questioning every little move,
Right.
which means you don't know the rules concrete enough.
Right.
So I do agree with Ape, I think, for a bit. 2K, I know I know your points too. 2K does feel a bit too small, like Age of Sigmar. I think just to get newer players in the door, 2K to them is like a grand thing, right? So many models on the table. 2.5 could discourage you. Holy crap, like if I'm playing undead, I need like 50 goddamn more zombies. Like I want
Right.
to pay 50 more zombies.
Yeah.
But I understand, like I did like 2.5K. If not to be rude to anyone here, but like if you know the game, it's fun. If it's a newer guy, you're holding the hand most of the time. And it's like, I'm enjoying the game, but I do have to help and pause a lot more just to get you over like the finish line, you
True.
know?
Yeah.
I heard good things on both sides. I had people say that they wish it was just 2K, and I had people say wish it was 25. I agree with the sentiment that probably 2K could have been better, especially with 3-hour games, and people could probably fit in maybe another turn, maybe. Um, but fantasy, I do like how it's more forgiving now because you actually don't like flee. That actually
Yeah.
slows down the game a lot too.
It slows a ton.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so your unit
absolutely.
doesn't just die when you
I
fail a leadership check. You have to roll above your leadership to actually be running caught down. So even if you just have maybe 2 more units on the field, that could definitely slow the game down a lot more than you'd expect. So 2000, I probably agree. Um, this might have been a little not advantageous, a little uh, reaching. I don't know what to say. It's like
Optimistic.
thank you, thank you. It was a little too optimistic to try 2500 because I was answering so many questions. And there were questions that I hadn't thought of before. So a big one that I've thrown up on some discords and stuff is if and I would like to hear y'all's perspective before I describe mine. If you cast a Mirage from Illusion on a unit and that unit is charged by so let's say Abe, you cast Illusion
Mhm.
on Young's unit. So that means it's Abe's
Okay.
turn. Abe, you charge Yong's unit. Yong's unit wins, and you fall back in good order. Yong pursues you, but is he allowed to run
To
into
make
you? Because
contact
that
with
counts as
me.
charging. So
Hmm.
you're not allowed to charge
so
with Mirage. So
I'm on 50-50 just because
sure.
it's under I think the word it's like because it's a pursue move, right? you're not declaring the charge. I am just pursuing after you. I think if we're reading literally, because it's pursue, I would say the Mirage unit is not charging, they're pursuing, chasing you. They're not yelling, I'm charging, right? Because you declare a charge, it's an actual charge. That's just a pursue move. And you get benefits of charging, right?
It
But you didn't
counts
actually
as a
charge.
charge.
Yeah, you counted,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
so
I would say you could.
yeah.
I would say like it would fall under the difference between declaring a charge and making a charge move, where like a unit can do one of those but not the other. Sometimes I see the point, but I also think like it's a random
Very,
kind of
very high.
Yes.
yeah. I mean,
Sure.
like I think I doubt the intention is that you can't
Right. So
override into something, but
on
yeah, I don't know.
on one of the discords, which is like just full of TOs, it's like just
Mhm.
TOs in there. Someone threw out something that actually makes a lot of sense and is a good compromise. So
Mhm.
when I think it was Zach and Jarrett's game that came up, and they were both kind of on the fence. One was leaning one way, one was leaning the other. But and I think they just 4-upped it because it's such a great area. But the good compromise was you can still charge, but it counts as accidental contact. So that was like a decent compromise.
Yeah.
I don't know if GW will hopefully put that in the FAQ if they're still allowed to do it, but
Yeah.
I do think the ruling that I made for your game with the skirmishers charging a skirmish line, I think that's the correct. I think that's the correct
I think it is, and
interpretation.
it's a weird rule. I
It's
mean,
weird.
I think we could all agree skirmishers are probably the worst part of the game.
Yeah,
Like,
they
they
break
are
all the
headache,
rules.
They break all the rules. I don't know if you've heard the weird one that came up the other day. I don't think it came up in there, but so if like 2 units charge skirmishers, one's charging here and like one's charging over here, right? Both units are in the skirmisher's front arc when they declare a charge, right?
Sure.
Then I line up over here. Now the skirmisher's front arc's over here, and this unit can't get there
So is it a
because
failed charge? Is that what you're asking?
yeah, even though they were like technically in this arc,
Mhm.
they were in the front arc when they declared the charge because all my arcs are front. Like how does that work, right? Or like
If they do a disordered charge where they just clip the corner, you won't get.
yeah, maybe
Push it in
unless
front,
it's like really
Yeah.
weird. Yeah, but like it's skirmishers are bad. Like,
Yeah.
But they're also really good.
they're also really good as
Too good.
as I think probably all proved this weekend.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think you probably yeah, I mean more judges. Like that's the other to do with the rules. Like if you want help next year, I can come judge instead of play.
Thank you. So
I'm totally down.
I expect
He don't want to lose the sword. That's how he wants.
That's
he don't
it.
want to lose the title.
He's going out on top. He's going out on top, baby.
That's it. No more tournaments for me.
You're done. So that is something I will have to do. If it was 60 some players was a lot to deal with. I know Mike, Lizardman player, he said if you need help next year, he said the same thing you did. And I definitely need more help. Obviously everyone helped with like setting up some terrain and handing out some papers and then clean up and stuff like that. But I need help for actual people being judges because handling 30 some tables by myself is tough. I had to tell people to wait. I have someone else ask me first, so I had to like run over there. And then there was like, sometimes there was, people got in their games. I think a lot of people got in 6 turns. I know several people that got in 6 turns every single game, which is awesome. But I definitely will need more help. So if anyone is interested in helping and not actually playing, that would be great. Obviously, your hotel gets paid for and some other things like Nova pays for basically the room. So you save money and you get to like, you might even be a ringer, like having an extra person. If we have like 3 judges and myself, then one of y'all could be designated the ringer if we have an ad number player.
I won't bring Pegasus Knights if I'm a ringer.
Yeah, please don't. Gosh, or one unit. I think actually a cool thing is Pegasus Knights. A good challenge is to only run them in Lance formation.
In Lance formation, yeah.
Yeah. So
I thought about it.
Yeah.
There's I think you can actually there is one situation. There's an advantage to get it to having them in Lance formation.
Other than combat res, what's the
other than combat res? So if it's when you come on the board, if you pursue off the board and you come back, if they're skirmishers, they have to line up in a single line touching the back. But if they're lands, you can get like an extra like 8 inches of free.
Look, he's already finding a way to break it for they're better in Lance.
I'll bring my 80-foot knights for a ring.
Yes. Do you own 80-foot knights?
I own 120-foot knights.
Are these the new ones?
Mostly the new ones. Yeah.
You have some of the 3rd edition ones?
I don't have any of the 3rd editions. I have some I had converted like
Okay.
a while back.
Cool.
And then I have about 80 other new ones. Yeah, I have a lot of.
I wish they were better.
I wish they. I would rather play like fun foot armies than crazy. Except I wanted to win. So.
Which is fair, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to win. That's fine.
Yeah.
So what are you bringing Todd to your and Todd's event in October? Young?
Abe
Yes.
or?
Yeah.
Oh,
Young, what are you?
I thought you were talking to him. So, I think I'm gonna shelf the Zinch because I know a lot of people are interested in playing it now, and I think at least I did prove they could they could play. They have a legit leg to do it.
Mhm.
The one faction that I would like to try, it's more softer because I told Todd it's our event, but he's telling me like I have to play, but I'll help probably judge painting.
Okay.
So I said, in that case, I'll probably take an army that will be an uphill struggle for fun, which will be pure Nurgle demons. Not even everything has to be marked Nurgle.
Okay.
So that's probably what I would take, just to have a fun little challenge. / like I am a little bit of a ringer, but still playing. But
Okay.
I'll also be judging painting. So I think that'll be a fun challenge to do. Because the Zinch, I know Abe mentioned in the chat, it must have been a bit magic heavy. It definitely was for Ard Boyz.
Sure.
Every game, I got 4 Mirages off at +4 to +5.
That's gross.
So half my punts, I'm like, hey, man, I'm so sorry. Half your army can't move, but I'm going to charge this guy, kill it. Next turn, okay, these can't move. I'll kill this guy here.
I don't. So GW keeps on doing this. They did this. I don't remember if you ever remember the old not the Middle Earth strategy battle game, but the more like fantasy one that they made.
Okay.
War of the Ring. Yeah,
War of the Ring.
War of the
Right.
Ring.
So they had a spell that like actually ruined that game was very similar. It was you couldn't charge. Yeah, and I won Ard Boyz with using like because you could take 9 ring race that could each cast a spell.
And then
I'd be like your entire army can't charge, and then they also the ring race also had basically a scream, which was like take a leadership test.
Okay.
So it was like stand there and do nothing while you die.
Ugh.
And I don't know why Games Workshop has like not learned that giving players unlimited access to spells that say the enemy can't charge is like probably a bad idea.
Yeah. You can't do the main thing that earns you to kill units in this game.
Yeah.
Blue,
what would you take? Would you take? I know you mentioned Bretonnia in the messenger chat for a bit, but
man, I am having a tough time arguing with myself and trying to decide. I'm very indecisive. Obviously, I'm a competitive player and I like to win, right? Most people are. They want to try and win, and I am struggling choosing between an army that I'm going to win most of my games with, or an army that is going to look gorgeous and score well in soft scores. I might still win a couple games and everything, but it's just if I have to fight the try-hard Bretonnia, Tomb Kings, or Vampire Counts or whatever armies, then I'll probably just get smoked. Or Wars Cast, whatever. I'll just get smoked. But my army would look beautiful dying. And I didn't want to run Zinch. If you're running Zinch, the problem is I don't have it. Say what?
I am not running Zinch, so you have full authority over them.
So I want to run my Zinch army, but I don't have a display. The problem is I have a lot of armies, and I don't have a display board made for each one of them. So I don't have a display board for my Zinch. So I'm trying to think, should I save this Zinch army until I actually get a display board just to like blow shit out of the water kind of thing, or should I just run it? But if I do run as try hard as I can, I could easily run the Bretonnian army, but I could easily run the vampire army. I think vampires are stupid good. What's up? What's up, babe?
Finish your thought. Finish your thought. Sorry.
So I think the only thing that counters the vampire list that I'm currently using, and obviously maybe it's the meta at the moment, but is Tomb Kings. I don't know any other army that could. And obviously this is very snobby, I guess. I don't think this list could lose. If I played versus myself, at least, the only army that could beat me is a Tomb King list. If I'm playing versus myself, no other army I think could beat the vampire list. But so if I get paired into them, like a double casket, because caskets just murder
Yeah.
Pegasus Knights. There's always counters, right? So they're like the top medalist can always counter this one, etc., etc. But it's like I don't know. I don't know what to do. So I want to bring a fun army, but I could bring all foot Bretonnia, which would look awesome, like a whole bunch of men at arms and a whole bunch of archers, and or I could bring some gorgeous Grail Knights, some gorgeous questing knights, and maybe one unit of Pegasus Knights, not to be crazy, but I just can't decide. It's tough. I'm not sure what to do.
Yeah. I've made the all foot work, but it's with it's casting miasma, right? Like
yeah.
it's and then you can get the charge off if the enemy can't do anything.
True.
Yeah.
True.
But you're really making me like consider I need to take the Bretonnian banner that like you can't take any modifiers to your leadership and just like stick that on my Pegasus Knights just to deal with screams and caskets and then be like, all right, like I'm a 9 rerollable. Good luck with your wailings at me.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea.
Yeah, right. Like it's 75 points, and everyone's like it's trash. But I'm like in the modern meta with caskets and wail and screaming, like might be worth it on a BSB. Like
I think the Pegasus army is the only ones they lose to is the casket that does 36-inch multiple wounds too, because they lower your leadership. Then they do that, and a vampire army that just like kind of castles and is just throwing stuff at you. And if you don't come close, you lose. If you do come close, you have to charge the stuff you don't want to, and then you just get screamed. So I think that banner is actually huge against those armies.
It might be huge. Yeah, I mean, I think they have a problem with like actually killing a real tooled out Chaos Lord on a dragon.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, but who doesn't?
Crazy.
Right? I was gonna say that. I mean, are you guys surprised that we only had 4 vampire players? I was surprised there wasn't more vampire players.
Personally, I think so. I went to Buckeyes in Ohio, and there were still a handful, but not as many. I think when you see people, let's say like Luna or Zach had a dragon, or let's say like Luna are the top players, they're not taking dragons as often. I think the meta is slightly shifting where like a dragon is strong, but at Buckeyes, I played against 2. And I just avoided it. So the whole game, you literally walk in a giant circle.
Absolutely.
And I thought, so you wasted 500, 600 points. And I just mopped up all of your goobs because you committed so much, right? So I do think Vamps, maybe it's because people keep seeing the success of them. They want to put something different. Or again, maybe you thought you saw this net list, played it, didn't do so well. So like, okay, you know what? Maybe I don't understand it. Let me do a supported faction, right? So I think that's why you don't see as many Vamps as you did in the beginning.
Okay.
Because monkey see, monkey do, but
sure,
if monkey don't understand, then what can monkey do? So it's
Wukong.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's interesting. So that happens a lot in 40K. A lot of people will run a net list and they just won't do as well because obviously the army list is very important, but piloting the list, knowing exactly what needs to go where is massive, just as big as the list itself, probably a little more. So maybe it's like 60-40, something like that. I agree. So what do y'all think? Tell me what to do. I don't know what to do for the October 9th thing. I would love to. So real quick, let me ask it this way. Does it look bad? And I don't care if I'm not embarrassed about asking this online and live. I don't care. Does it look bad as a TO who's trying to run comped? Because there's no comp at Todd's. That's not true. It's 0 to 3 for non-core and 0 to 6 for core.
6 for core.
Is it a bad look on myself as SquareHammer or whatever, running a try-hard army and just trying to annihilate my opponents? Does it do a bad service to what I'm trying to accomplish elsewhere, or is it a good service trying to prove that comp is needed?
So I guess because we designed the Beltway because I think a lot of people I met wanted just to play for the first year, just unfiltered the old world. And I think for you, because you have people like Luna and Phil and more competitive guys who want to take a tradition, their nasty list, right? For me, the whole point of this is everyone asked for the old world, so that's why me and Todd made this. So take what the game was designed for, unfiltered, unabashed. I don't care. Let's see where you rank then, right? So that's how I personally feel. No, I'm serious, dude. I think you should. When you come into this one, I think you should bring your nastiest, most competitive list. That's the whole point of this, right? Everyone complain about the comp. So guess what? You're gonna come here. We're gonna let you play with the tools you want. So if I end up seeing a Bretonnian guy with like 100-minute arms, I respect you, but I don't know why you're doing this. But have fun.
Yeah.
If you run into Blue or Luna, or let's say even Jarrett, good luck. You're gonna get tabled in turn one. But that's
Well,
what some people ask to see,
tough.
right?
Yeah, it's true.
So for me, I
Okay.
say go all in, bring what you can to win to prove the point. Then, right? Have the point. Look at this. I went 20-0, 5 games, not even close, even against people who are considered good. That's my evidence to back up why comp is needed, right? If you don't have that evidence, then you still have people on the internet, hey, you don't know what you're talking about, or hey, what is this, right?
Sure.
But by doing that, hey, man, it's GT with people who are well known. I smashed them apart, so I do know what I officially am talking about. I have evidence and data to back it. You
Okay.
know?
And that was my reasoning when we went to the like the Richmond Open. Like I was like, hey, we don't
Yeah.
want there's no comp. I'm gonna run the strongest thing I can. And that for me that happened to be Vamps because I don't have 2 caskets. And I think it's Tomb Kings. Tomb Kings are one of the best. Bretonnians are one of the best. And I only didn't run Bretts because there were already other people that were really skilled at the game running Bretts. So I didn't run the same thing. So I was like, all right, let me
Exactly.
find like another broken thing. But yeah.
I would agree. I mean, I think look, I mean, I'm similar to you in some ways in that I am I write, and so I came to bring a strong list so that I could win, and so I can, because this is something I need. We both want to be able to say this is what we're talking about. We know what we're talking about, right?
Right.
So, and I think if it's an uncomped event, bring what you got, buy everyone a drink afterwards.
Yeah.
Sorry for destroying you. Here's a beer.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hear you.
that's why but I think so, and I think it'll help us a lot in 6 months or a year when we can look back and be like, now we have like a full year of not just playing the game, but a full year of events out there, and what do we really need to do? What are the problems? Because I think there are problems. Like
Sure.
I think the game is good. I like the game, but there's problems. There's obviously skirmishers have been brought up.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the Nova comp while we're on the subject of comp
Yeah,
quickly?
I think we talk the Nova comp real quick. Then we
Yeah.
talk about maybe a little bit of the new Warriors of Chaos Arcane Journal, which
Yeah.
I didn't get sent. I guess I'm not surprised. But whatever. Yes, please go for it. Nova comp. What do you think?
Yeah.
Abe, go for it because I talked too long earlier. So you go first.
No, you didn't.
Yeah. Well, okay. So first off, I mean, I think I came out pretty early on that I wasn't a huge fan of a ton of comp. I think we had some discussions on there, and like I'll admit, I would think I was probably wrong. Like I think I think it was. I stand by that. I felt that I still think it was too early for as much comp as we did, but I think that comp is necessary for the game at this point.
Right.
I think I've played enough, and I think there's some sort of comp is necessary.
Okay.
So I would say I think some of the comp was really good, and I think some of it was probably unnecessary too. I don't think that the 10 wide comp, I don't think that ended up being particularly necessary. Line hammer is just not really a thing. 3, no more than 2 characters in a unit probably wasn't super necessary.
Sure. So the real quick,
yeah.
The reason I did that is because you could do a huge points denial unit. You could just have like 1,500 points in one unit, and like you might not be able to, but I hear you. I hear you.
Absolutely. Like I probably would have thrown both my barons and my paladin into one Pegasus Knight unit maybe. So, but I would that have particularly broken the game? I don't think it was a huge deal.
Fair.
I'm trying to think. I think the 1,000 points of hero of characters was a good one. Like cool. I like that paring things down. I think rule of 3. I've probably said it. I've said it elsewhere. I think rule of 3 is, it's a patch. Like I'd rather go in and look at individual units and be like, this needs to be 0 to 1, but that's like a huge 50-page document to fix.
I did that for Pegasus Knights.
Yeah, exactly. You did. Yeah. So I like that. What were the Armor of Ages, enchanted aura not being on things? I think
monsters.
We're great. We're great. We're great fixes.
Wizards. You could do
wizards. The wizards. I think that was a good fix too. If you want to tone down crazy magic, I think the one like negative is that some things could get around that, like casket, where you're
Yeah.
like, I have a level 4 and basically 2 level 3s, and then the
Yeah.
other guy's like, I only have 1 level 3 or 1 level 4 to
Yeah.
fight that.
Vampires take advantage
So
of that too.
yeah, vampires take advantage of that.
Mhm.
Anyone who can take a lot of the bound spells can kind of get around that in
Yeah.
some
Tzeentch
ways.
demons.
Tzeentch demon, yeah.
He's like
I'll
trying to be
say-
quiet over there. I see him. He's like,
No,
yes.
so I'll be honest. I think the comp itself, I did like what Abe just said. Most of it I did like. Now the Magic that plays each demons, but for my Nurgle demons as well. Magic, in my opinion, should be a little more unfiltered because you have the 1,000 point hero cap, right? Because Abe just mentioned you have people, let's say Zach, running all of those balance spell twos, and then I know Tim says Mortuary Cult got hit. In my opinion, you still got the main guy at +8. It don't really matter if your other goobers aren't at that level.
They're still
You just have too
+6,
much
like,
supremacy,
right?
right?
Like, yeah.
So I think the comp, I actually now playing it a bit more, I was fine with the comp. But I think not even for my Tzeentch demons, but my Nurgle demons, Magic should be a little bit more open. So when
Okay.
you play against lists that are basically breaking your comp in the first place, okay, we're all equal at least in this field now, right? I think Magic is already so strong. Those lists that go past it, you have a whole extra level of advantage over us because of the comp. You're following it, but not really.
I hear what
Like
you're saying.
we're following it to the T. These guys are for fun throwing all the crazy pillars, all these, -2 leadership bombs.
You mean for Ard Boyz, or are you talking about Ard Boyz or the GT?
I'm talking about the GT,
Okay, okay. Yeah, because you could
because
still run 3 Sisters of the Thorn.
yeah, so people
Right.
are still kind of getting through it, right? And if you only have a single level 4, that 24-inch bubble is actually not as big as you think to dispel. So you have to like hunt them down, but then Zach with his Wood Elves, he can just run across the table again and like, oh
Yeah.
man, I have to play grab ass the whole time going back and forth. So yeah. So I did
Yeah.
like the comp. The 1,000 point for me felt really good at 2,500.
Okay.
I think at 2,000, I don't mind it still being 50% just because if you want a big dragon, fight it, fight him, try
Okay.
your best. Good luck. One barrage will take him out of the game, right?
I'm a proponent now of 25% characters at 2,000. You get 500 points. You could take a naked dragon and nothing else.
25%?
25%. You
Oh
get
my
500 points at 2,000 points. I want to try that out.
That's like a level 4 and a BSB.
Yeah, it's a level 4. I think you can get
Well,
you
more
could
than
probably
that,
get
but,
like a foot character, a foot wizard, and a BSB, or like 2 mounted characters or 1 dragon, basically. I know it's very extreme. I'm not saying everyone should adopt this,
Yeah.
but I would like to try it. I would
Right,
say
sure.
I do wonder like what armies we didn't see because of the comp. Like I suspect we didn't really see any orcs because of the comp, especially rule of 3, like
Yeah.
really hitting like nomadic Wa and
I
stuff.
think orcs are fine. You take 3 boar units, you take 3 units of wolves, you take 3 chariots. Like you will just. I think it's amazing. There was someone
Yeah.
running the nomadic wog there.
Yeah,
I
we saw
actually
like
have someone that knows.
we saw like 1 orc,
Yes.
considering that they're one of the like the 4 armies you could actually fully purchase.
Right.
It felt very low. So I do wonder, like obviously we can't like know what the negative was, but I do wonder. I think Bretonnians were helped by the comp. Like most of the comp did not really affect Bretonnians in any way. I think the only way that like I changed my army is instead of taking 2 level 3 outcasts, I took a level 3 and a level 2 damsel. Like that was
Okay.
pretty much the only thing the comp ever did to me.
Would you have taken 3 Pegasus Knight units instead of 2? No, you
Nah.
still would have just stuck with 2?
I don't think you actually have it's hard to get the points to get 3 in there because they're like at
Really?
with 1,000 points. They're just it's like right in there. I would not have taken 3. I would take
Could
2.
you,
That's
if there wasn't that 0 to 1 per 1,000,
Mhm.
and I saw your article, you didn't really like the brigands, your rare
Mhm.
or your mercenaries. Could you
Yeah.
drop both those units and pick up 5 more Pegasus Knights?
I would have taken 2 cannons. I would
That's
never
right.
have
That's
taken.
right. You said 2
I would
cannons.
never have
That's
taken
true.
3 units of Pegasus Knights. I think that's like way too hard to actually move around and to be useful at that point. Like Pegasus Knights are 100%. Like they take up space and like getting in there. And honestly, like Pegasus Knights are decent, but
Yeah.
like they you want a character in them, especially if you're playing Exiles and they don't have the
Mhm.
save. You want either a character or you want to be able to throw Battle Lust on them to give them a frenzy and hatred and just
So
like
good.
make them gross.
Yeah.
So I don't think I
Okay.
ever would have taken a 3rd unit.
Interesting.
Just like for points wise. Maybe some people would, but yeah, like the only thing the only thing the comp ever changed for me is instead of taking 2 level 3s, I took a level 3 and a level 2.
Okay.
So I think Bretonnian's kind of skated
Like,
by on
yeah.
the comp
Mhm.
because we don't have like the biggest things out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know what the answer to that is, like other than
Yeah.
like I think Bretonia's fixes are not comp. They're like a special FAQ to say that like Pegasus Knights. The one thing I've suggested is maybe big Pegasus Knights loner, so characters can't join them. And then they're like still a solid unit, but you
That's what it
don't
used
have
to be
like, yeah, you
in
don't have the
6th, 7th
crazy,
edition book.
you don't have all the crazy combos, and like you
Right.
can run a character next to them, but they're not sharing benefits and
Yeah.
everything. So
Is that
like,
right, chat? I think it was 6th and 7th edition where you had to take like a Lord on a Pegasus to unlock a second unit of Pegasus Knights, but he couldn't actually join the unit, if I remember right. Someone, if y'all don't mind, if you know that by
yeah,
heart, I think that's the case. Basically, the book they had from 6th all the way through 8th edition,
through 8th
you
edition,
had to
yeah.
take one to unlock Pegasus Knights, but you couldn't uh you couldn't join a character to it. I think that was the case. But yeah. Anything else? What do you think? Comp, I think we covered. What were we going to talk about after comp? I don't remember. Do y'all have anything you want to talk about? I see um, Gilth wants us to drop down to 33% hero, so that's at least closer to what you want, Abe. Man, I really don't like 50% characters. I don't like half your army being in characters. It just feels so Age of Sigmar / End Times.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know. But I understand why people do like it, and I understand my reason or my feeling why I don't. I like big
Yeah.
armies on the field, not like 3 characters that take up half my army. It feels
I,
weird, but
yeah, I agree. Like I would honestly like I want to try like one event that's like 25% hero characters, 50% core, and then
okay.
Jesus.
50% special, 25% rare. Like do whatever you want with the rest of your points, and it's just like
And that'll change the meta because some armies
it'll
have
yeah,
much better core than
yep,
other
Yeah.
armies. Like if you have, well, you saying minimum 50% core?
minimum 50% core.
Man. So
Right.
like
Got
Ogre Kingdoms, they get
Ogre
screwed.
Kid
Yeah.
Their core sucks.
yeah.
So it's
Well,
I
put it on
I
a
hear
real
you.
army. Like play an army that's actually in the game, not a legacy faction.
How dare you? How dare you? I had someone come up to me while I had a lot of people come up to me when I was sitting at that table, but one of the questions, actually, let me tell, I have 2
Mm,
things. One of them was, are are legacy armies allowed to be played here? I was like 100%.
mhm.
Because I think there's just 8 non-legacy armies. I think that's right.
9.
There's 9.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
9 armies with like 60 people, that would be horrendous. That is not a fun GT to play in my opinion. But I had another guy who was playing Age of Sigmar come up to the table and he was like, "Hey man, you're running the old world?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "You're SquareHammer?" "Yeah, that's me, man. How's it going?" Um, and he said, "I'm one of the." This is legit what he said. "I'm one of the guys that was on the internet complaining about your comp." Um, and I was like, hating on your comp. I really don't like what it is. And then he said, but then I stopped hating on it because I realized I'm not even playing the old world anyway. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, just trolling to troll, I guess.
Yeah,
But
just trolling. So let me ask you, as
so
as
funny.
a TO,
Yes.
do you ever see a future where you would not allow legacy? Like
No.
3 years from now, they haven't been
Oh,
updated
No.
and
hey,
everything.
don't say that, man. I'll
No.
quit right now. I'll
Yeah.
sell everything.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
like half my armies that I own aren't playable. No.
Hmm.
No.
Okay.
I don't want to curse on here because I don't know if they take anything, or whatever. But no, I will not stick to what that one article said, where they won't be running legacy armies at their events. No,
Hmm.
100%. Never. Not even
That was a
close.
mistake, I think. They
Huge.
alienated such a big part of the
Yeah.
community just by that one sentence. Like they screwed up that one for sure.
Now I think
I,
they're coming back with it. I think eventually, since
Yeah,
they see that the old world is exploding in terms of like
yeah,
sales and players and online activity, like content is exploding. Obviously, it's slowed down for live games. I understand why, but uh, their production is probably backed up for months. Like I know people that
yeah,
pre-ordered stuff and they waited like 4 months for something to even get shipped. So they did not expect how big it was going to be. I wish that they would have spoken to some of the people, not even me, if they were just like speaking to Mountain Miniatures, or like just talk to these people like, hey, how many people what are your numbers for the old world? How many people seem interested, and how many people were still playing? They would have seen that, hey, this nostalgia feel. I started playing I was 8 and it was 96. So obviously I didn't have money when I was 8 years old. So I had to get like Christmas presents and, well, holiday presents, whatever. So I had to wait. But now I'm in my 30s and I'm able to, like, I can buy whatever I want. Well, not whatever, but like I can fund this. So now I can buy and get that nostalgia feel like, oh, I always wanted this army. I always wanted this army. So now they should, I hope that as time progresses, they start bringing in the legacy factions to not just be legacy. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I was in the same boat. I started in '99 and I couldn't
nice.
afford anything, and I thought, it'd be great. I should open a game store that I can get everything at discount. And
Nice.
turns out that's not that you could get stuff cheaper, but it's not actually like a great financial decision to open a game store.
It's true.
Yeah,
Unless you have a lot of Magic players,
unless you have a lot of Magic players.
that's
Yeah.
how they survive.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I mean, I think the biggest mistake they made was they either should have never said anything about them or put them in
Yeah.
the game. Having them be in like their legacy
Limbo
where
state.
where you
Yeah.
can play that, like just leave it as a question. Like
Right.
there's no rules for them. Maybe they'll get added later or something, and like people would be sad but not actively mad about it, I think.
Yeah.
But by saying here's your bone to go chew on, but they're never going to be updated, I think that definitely alienated players.
And I don't even know if that's true or if that's just the person who wrote the article and that wasn't QA'd, it wasn't edited, and the person reading the article who was like overseeing them just didn't see, and they were like, get that out of there. It could have just been a minor slip, or who knows.
It's what they say about every time. I mean, when they do 40K legacy stuff, because they've done it before, it's the same thing they say
Yeah.
with any legacy
Yeah.
thing that they've ever done. So I assume it's
I thought
their
I thought that was
intention.
insulting when they I think a couple months ago they did go through all the legacies and clean up a few rules, like the
Mhm.
Yeah,
demon
put
prince and
FAQs
real.
out.
I mean, that's a little bit insulting. Like, so you guys said you wouldn't do it, you just touched it, and then now we're done. That
We're
to
just
me was
correcting. We're just correcting typos. It's not updating anything. I mean, I actually would love if they didn't bring the legacies back, but brought brought them back in new forms. Like if they did Vampire Coast instead of Vampire Counts or
Oh,
something.
That'd be cool.
Right, like a new slight twist on all the different legacy armies, so
Oh yeah.
that they're not just because they talked about how they don't want to just they've said that the reason they don't want the legacy armies is because they don't want the stuff that's in Age of Sigmar to cross over because they
yeah.
can't tell like what they're selling for. So
Sure.
then like
Sure.
bring them back, but in some new form, but slight twist on them.
Okay.
And that'd be cool, right?
Yeah, the Vampire Coast models for on Total War look amazing.
Amazing,
So,
amazing.
oh yeah, like if you have
absolutely.
that, I don't remember the name of it, but basically the big zombie ship that's like a ship
Yeah.
walking around with its
Shipwreck,
cannon and
Leviathan,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that would be awesome. Or like all the
It'd be
crab
awesome.
things, like that would be
Yeah.
great. I saw someone, I think he 3D printed them. This was, and obviously that's going to hurt GW. This was years ago when we were playing Warhammer's Armies Project. I have heard some people that they want some more diverse armies, but obviously there would be a lot of, um, what is it you do? Man, I'm tired. What is it you do, Young? Sculpting. Thank you. I said it myself.
Yeah.
I'm thanking myself. Yeah, a lot of sculpting, and that's very expensive to get all those
Yeah.
molds done. But some of the armies for Warhammer's Armies Project were just really cool. There was Vampire
Yeah.
Coast. There was
Yeah.
Cathay. There was Talea. Like there was basically Amazons, all sorts of stuff. So even if they brought in a unique army like that to the old
Yeah.
world, that would be cool too.
I mean, I think we could probably all agree like the biggest thing that they did that we're not happy with is the like leading with
you
Kiss
smiling at Young. I see you. I see you, Young.
leading off with Kislev and Cathay, and then being like, oh, we have no actual plans to make these armies. Like what? What
you
a
know
rug
why,
pull.
right?
What a rug pull.
You know why, right? Though.
What? I mean,
so this is like what I assume is an easy connecting the dots.
Mhm.
Kislev is basically Russia, and then
Sure.
they didn't want to get into that whole thing with politics and worldly news of what's actually going on, so they didn't want to give any kind of marketing to that. That's what I assume because they had all sorts of stuff lined up. That's what I'm guessing. So Cathay, I don't know why. I think Cathay would be sweet, all the rockets and all that kind of stuff, but maybe the same issue.
Yeah, my assumption based on what I've heard and everything is so all the artwork they showed for Cathay and Kislev was all from the video game. No artwork was ever made for Total War.
Mm.
It's all video game assets. And so I think when they were first announcing stuff, they had no Total War assets to show.
Okay.
And they were like, we need to show pictures of something, and we have these assets that are cool. And they didn't really know what the game was. Because, like, if you remember when they first announced it, people were like, is this going to be 24 millimeter? Is this going to be
Right.
like, you know, Warlord coming back? Like,
Yeah.
what scale is this or anything? I don't know that they even knew at that point. And they
Probably
were
not.
like, these are the assets that we have that are interesting. And then at some point they were like, we can't make like 2 whole new armies. Like, we can't even make the armies that exist right now in
True.
our production. You know,
True.
where we got to spin things up. So that's my theory.
I can see that.
It's just like that's what they had. And then because if you look in like the core rule book, it has like the page on Cathay in it with like art, and then
Yeah.
it says like this is credited to like Creative Assembly or whatever. Like,
Oh,
it's not
okay. I
even
didn't
Games
see
Workshop art in there. Yeah.
I will
Like,
say I didn't like the Kislev art when it came to like their basic
Mhm.
warrior. It didn't look Cathay, or it didn't look Kislev to me. It looked more elven, but you know,
Yeah.
that's obviously going back. I don't even remember when they released that. Was that pre-COVID when they talked about Kislev and like all the art?
Oh
If I'm
yeah,
mistaken,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
It
man.
was like right before
We had
COVID,
to
I
wait
think, yeah.
years. I remember they
It-
were like, yeah, 3
About 4
years, and then
years,
it ended
yeah.
up taking a little longer because obviously COVID threw everything for a loop.
Yeah.
But
I think like it was funny when it was coming out, we were looking at it and it was like there was less time between the end of 8th edition and the announcement of Old World than there was between like Old World actually being announced and actually coming out. Like, it doesn't seem like that, but like
Yeah.
like it was like 3 years into Age of Sigmar or something when they actually announced that Old World was coming, and now it's like 8
wait,
years in
really?
or something.
It was only 3
Yeah.
years of Age of Sigmar?
It was like 3 or 4. It was like 3 or 4 years in Age of
Whoa.
Sigmar. Like, it wasn't as long as you think, and it was like, it was like kind of crazy, like how much like and I like because we were because we were talking about it, me and some people, and we are like, yeah, like when they announced it, Old World, like War Fantasy wasn't actually dead for all that long.
Right.
Like, it had only been like 4 years, but then by the time it actually comes out, now it had been gone for like 8 years
Okay.
or something. It was kind of interesting.
So I agree, Imp. I think an Araby army would be sick. He said there's a rich Arab and Persian mythology they could draw from. I completely agree. I think Araby would be amazing. But they would not touch that with possible political issues. Yeah. I could see them making 1 or 2 Araby units for the Tomb Kings, like mercenaries or something. That would be interesting. Pay them with like relics from their temples. That would make sense. Like the cloaked guys from the Mummy movie or something. The cloaked guys. Who are the cloaked
He's
guys?
talking about
Magi or
Oh, the
Magi.
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 Yeah. They stood up against the Ushapti with like all them
Yeah.
charging, basically. And
Yeah.
that was a sweet scene. I love seeing all the
was-
Ushapti like. I still love the Mummy. Oh, and Andy Ames, he dressed up as what I assume looked like Brendan Fraser from the Money. That was.
Oh yeah, Brendan Fraser. Yeah,
There were some great costumes.
There was some great costumes.
There were some great costumes. I would have loved to see Andy pull out his little pistol and point it at it's obviously it's not a real pistol. Pointed at Andreas, who was wearing, or Andrea, who was wearing the Pharaoh garb. That would have been a cool picture.
Did you want to talk about Chaos quickly, or?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
you said.
Young, you got anything? Did you have you read the Chaos book?
I saw
like
the duel, which I think is very funny. The Warriors duel.
Yes.
I think that's hilarious. And then my friend Javier has been talking about it. I know that Chaos Spawn, everyone's hyped about it because it's dirt cheap for what it does.
Yeah.
And I did see, is it that new banner also? It's like 75 points, but their leadership cannot be unmodified too. So I think, Abe, you said Bretonnian will take that. I think Warriors, just for the meta,
I think,
for the
yeah,
should probably
100%.
take the same thing
Yeah.
too.
I like.
They got a lot of love actually. So
say what? Oh yeah, I think the Chaos Spawn is cool. It's like 165 points for what it does. It's got like AP2 stomps. It's got D6 plus 1 impact hits. I think it might be D3 plus 1.
It's just D6.
Oh,
or D6. It's D6 stomps. It doesn't have any impact hits, and if it's corn, it gets D3.
That's what I was thinking of. That's right. You could
Impact
give it
hits.
marks. So really, it's 3d6 random movement. So there's no charge reactions. It's just going to hit you.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's strength 6, toughness 6. It's basically a giant stats, but it's random movement and some other things. It's better than a giant, kinda, basically, and it is much cheaper. So
yeah, I mean, giving it the corn with D6 plus 1 attacks and killing blow, like that's pretty scary to a lot of things.
That's nasty.
The dragon, the Warpfire dragon, is like pretty insane as
Yeah, that's
well. I
nice.
think.
Yeah.
The skin wolves look good actually too. I know Todd was talking about that. They seem pretty nifty actually.
They're cool. I don't think they're as good as a dragon ogre, right? For like 20 more
Yeah.
points, you get a dragon ogre, but they're cool because they're the only, other than Pegasus Knights, they will now be the only other monstrous type thing that is skirmishing, right? I think so. It's just Pegasus.
No.
Rot flies are
Gargles.
skirmishing also.
What is?
Rot flies for Nurgle demons.
They
They're also
skirmish?
skirmishers. Yeah, they do skirmish.
Oh, I
like
didn't know that.
Vargles
That's cool.
or something
Yeah.
are skirmishers, right? In vampire counts.
Okay, well then I'll shut up. So
Oh.
there's a handful. All right, there's a handful. Sorry, the ones that are good. Let me say that. There's only a couple that are good.
Okay,
But skin wolves are cheap. I think they're like 40 points, maybe 45 for what they do.
yeah.
They're fast. Do they have AP? Are they at least AP 1? I'm guessing.
So they can.
I know Mountain Miniatures. If y'all want to see the book, if you go to Mountain Miniatures,
he
he did
showed
a
the whole
review.
thing.
Yeah, he showed the review.
I've got a copy here. I'm looking at.
Well,
so
lucky you. Just kidding.
They don't have any AP, but they can choose to have AP 1 and Armor Bane 2. That's one of the.
Oh yeah, they get to choose. They're like a Forsaken, but they get to choose.
Yep. So their three options are they can do AP 1 Armor Bane 2. They can do +1 attack, or they can do +1 toughness and +2 armor.
God, that one's good too.
They don't have any actual armor, so it just gives them a 5 up.
Oh, okay, 5 up. Okay.
Yeah, but then they're toughness 5 with a 5 up and a 5 up regen. So like
good.
Fairly tanky at that point.
That's just only in combat though, right? It's not at the start of the turn, or is it?
Yeah, it's in step 1.1 of any combat.
Okay. So you can still shoot them pretty easily.
Yes, you can still shoot them. It does last until your next start of turn. So if you do it, if you like charged on your turn and overran, you would, and were getting shot, you would
use that toughness.
You would keep that toughness
and armor. That's pretty good.
Yeah, though it does also lock you in for the opponent's turn to use the same thing. So
yeah, if you get charged. Okay.
If you get charged,
charge on there.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Or you overrun or combat continues for whatever. You'd have to use the same thing for at least until your next turn, but it's not bad. I mean,
I've seen the duel thing is pretty funny. Like the start of the game, I challenge you, and it's like I see people building. Is it the Huskars? The Huskars, the big cavalry. I think a lot of people are using that as like their champion. You give them like the always strike first weapon, something you could do something with them, and it's like they're strength 5, AP 2 with like 2 or 3 attacks, and it's just like I'm going to kill your champion, and I get to go first. It seems crazy to me. I'm surprised they did that.
I think it's the best rule they've written. Like it's so fun. I love rules that that are like that, right? Like, and I mean, so here's the thing, though, right? You can always decline the challenge unless you're Bretonnian, then it like totally sucks for you.
Sure.
But normally you can decline the challenge if you know you're going to play these guys. You know you're going to go second. You just deploy appropriately. They don't have like shooting or anything. They don't have a ton of magic, so them going first is not like the end of the world.
Especially if there's objectives on the field.
If there's objective, like it's an advantage to them, but but you'll get to know. But like it's a controllable. It's almost an advantage for you. I don't know if they have to.
I hope they have to challenge.
No, they don't have to challenge. They
don't.
Choose.
Oh, they don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they can choose to challenge.
When do they decide? Is it after deployment?
Instead of rolling off to determine which player. So yeah, I guess it's after the deployment.
So your opponent could have set up as if they're not going first.
As if they're not going to go first, and then they do the challenge.
Like, I'm making you go first.
Yeah. Well,
yikes.
I accept with my shittiest champion. The 2 shittiest champions gonna go out there and fight.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, you can still take
cool.
Yeah. So I think it's great. I think it's like super flavorful and it's fun and like it's good, but it's not overpowered. It's not like that's not a certain thing for either player. So like there's still the dice involved. And
well, you mentioned Bretonnia, so I was just watching Mountain Miniatures because they were live streaming, and I think they probably still are their game. They were discussing the Bretonnia. Can they just decline it, and then since are they still allowed to pray? I think there's like some wonky
No,
stacking at the
so
moment?
there's a specifically like people were all debating this because they didn't have the full rule.
Okay.
And this is like the time when like if you get preview stuff, you have to just be like, oh, I know the answer to this, but I can't tell you for
Oh, so you
like
can't say it? Is that what you're telling me?
yeah, well, I can tell you now, but
Oh,
when
okay.
it's under like embargo, they'll release stuff sometimes, right?
Right.
And you're under embargo, so you can't talk about it, and
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are getting everything wrong, and you're like, I have the answer, and I want to settle this question. So
Yeah,
if
that's fair.
Bretonnians accept, they count as praying. Um,
Wait, if they accept
even
the challenge, they can
if
pray?
they accept the challenge, they count as praying.
Okay.
Oh
Um,
wow, okay.
and that's even if they win. So either way, they count as praying. So you can actually be Bretonian and go first and pray.
Oh, that's cool.
It's just accepting the
Mm.
challenge. If you decline the challenge, you cannot pray. And anyone that normally would count as having the blessing, like Grail Knights, lose the blessing because the
Whoa.
lady's like, "Don't be a coward."
Dang.
Like, so as Bretonia, like you definitely do not want to decline the
Wow.
challenge. But also, if you think about it, like a Grail Knight going into this challenge is gonna like wreck face, right?
I mean, maybe. They could still lose.
They could still lose.
Interesting. Yeah, but
Yeah.
then that means if you're not running Grail Knights and you only have like Pegasus Knights, for example,
Pegasus. Well, he goes, yeah. You have to.
oh,
It
you
has to be
can't
one
use
more
Pegasus Knight.
character.
You'd
Yeah,
have
it
to
has
use
to
like a Men at Arms on foot or a
Men at Arms.
champion
Yeah.
bowman
I
or
mean,
something.
you're probably gonna have you're probably gonna have some knight. Like you're probably gonna be armor 3 at least, right? Which is pretty decent. I don't think Bretonians are like hugely disadvantaged.
No, I'd probably just sacrifice a archer champion. That's probably all I would
Yeah.
do, honestly.
And just be like, I'm used to going second. I'm gonna go second.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you choose to do this, if you choose to do this, I'm gonna lose and go second.
Mhm.
If you don't choose to do this, I'm gonna pray and go second. Like it's up to you.
Now, I asked a question. I think I was at lunch on Tuesday, I guess, and I asked a buddy. So, if you're playing vampire counts and you challenge with a Graveguard champion or something,
Mhm.
and he dies, right, to your guy. Now, when I raise dead or whatever it's called now, does my champion come back, or is he like not actually there?
I would assume he comes back.
Okay,
Like
just curious.
the-
All right.
if he's dead, I would assume he can come back.
Okay.
Corpse is on the battlefield still, so he
Yeah.
should just come back with him.
That's
Just
true.
join his
You ain't
house,
lying.
you know.
You ain't
He's
lying. Okay.
still
Okay.
there.
Many yeomen will be sacrificed for the lady.
Yeah.
That's
Get
true.
in there. No, I mean I think the Warpfire Dragon is probably like the scary thing out of this list out of the
Okay.
book though,
Okay.
because it's like it's a wizard. It can turn off ward saves. It has a stone thrower.
Would you pay to make it a wizard? It's only
Um,
level 2, right?
it's all it can be level 1 or level 2. I mean, it's a good question. I don't know. It depends on what else I'm taking. Like
Maybe make it
demonology.
cheap, right? Keep it cheap and just make it go and do damage.
Yeah. I mean, maybe 100%, but like also like
How's it turn off
demonology.
ward saves?
Just no one gets ward saves within 3 inches of it. That's just a thing it has. Friends and foes, no ward saves within 3 inches.
Oh,
of it.
friends and foe.
Yeah.
Does that
So,
mean
like,
it doesn't have a ward save, does it? Because most things
it
that have
does
an aura,
not.
like it turns
Yeah.
off, it
It
helps
doesn't
yourself.
have it has a 5-up regeneration, but it
Okay.
doesn't have a ward save.
Okay, good. I was gonna
And
say
then
that'd
balls
be
will kill it.
yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like demonology to give you like +1 toughness or like strength
Yeah.
is like pretty rad on a big monster like that. So I don't know if it's worth doing a dragon or not, or doing the wizard or
wizard?
not. But even without it, like, and then if it dies, it explodes. So like,
Does it?
Yeah, it
You have to
explodes.
roll it, or does the auto do it?
It just auto explodes. Every unit within 6 inches takes D6 strength 5 hits AP2.
What?
Like,
Oh.
yeah,
That's dumb,
it's huge. Yeah,
but
yeah.
cool.
Oh,
Wow,
I guess that's a funny thing.
that's a very funny thing.
It does. Oh, it says other models can't get ward saves because it does get a 5-up ward save against flaming attacks or
Okay.
magical or flaming attacks.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Toughness 6 wounds, or
Yep. 666. Yep.
Jesus.
Only 5 attacks.
only
Only 5 attacks.
AP2?
D6
I'm
stomp.
guessing.
Yeah, D6 stomp attacks.
It's Behemoth, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, it's Behemoth.
Okay.
And then yeah, I mean it's also got AP2 with its attacks, and it's got a stone thrower too. Like if you just want to sit back and be like, I'm gonna stone thrower and then magic missile you, like that's also like completely a viable option. And then what are you gonna do? Come charge my dragon like with your chaff to kill a stone thrower? No, like
Yikes. Now,
Yeah.
so I was told it has bombardment, right? So it can shoot over stuff, right?
Mhm.
Is it just a strength thrower, like, or a stone thrower in terms of its rules, like strength and everything?
6 to 24-inch range, strength 4, AP 1, 8 and 3 under the hole, D3 plus 1 wounds under the hole, flaming attacks. I think it can actually move and shoot.
That's gnarly.
Yeah.
That's actually really good. And you don't have to pay for that. It just comes with that.
That just comes with it. That's just
how many points is it without the wizard?
Without the wizard, it's 375. So like
not Chaos
cheap,
Dragons 360, right?
But it's a rare choice, right? So
okay.
So you can still run your dragon. like you can do a 3 dragon list if you really wanted to squeeze it.
But that warp fire dragon's like 2 of those gigantic spawns. So
sure. Yeah.
The bait's there, right?
But it's not random. It flies.
It's more reliable.
Yeah, it's far more reliable. I mean, I don't know which one's better, but I think the Warpfire Dragon because like
is better than 2 spawn.
You know, I think the turning off ward save it can like really come in clutch for some things.
Bretonnians.
At least the spawn have the 360 line of sight though, right? That Warpfire has a behemoth, so you got to look in the front arc only.
No, I think
Spawn's
behemoth too.
Oh, the behemoth? Never mind. Okay, I lied.
yeah. So it has to. It has random movement, but it still has to wheel with its movement.
Yeah, wheel. Yeah. Okay, I lied. I'm so sorry.
What's its fly? Please, is it not fly 9? Maybe 8?
It is fly 10.
What? Why is it fly 10?
It's fly 10.
That's faster than a.
Yeah.
All right. Do I have how many dragons?
And it's MR. It's MR2 also. Just so you can't cast.
Oh, so you're not gonna miasma me. Great.
Yeah.
Does it have Swift Stride or no?
Yep.
Better.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, maybe you make it a level 2. Well, you can't dispel in combat, so it can't.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't make it a wizard. I would just keep it a nasty dragon. Like no other army. Warhammer's Armies Project had dragons. You could take them by themselves, but there is no other one here that has that. Yeah, you take a Chaos Lord on a dragon. You take your Warpfire Dragon, and then. Okay, now is that going to be legal for October, Young?
Todd, we are allowing the Chaos Journal.
Yes.
So you can, but it has to be painted. So if you have it, bring it over.
I have plenty of dragons. Bet.
Yes.
Okay. I'll at least make a list for my own sanity just to have fun with it, but I probably won't run it.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty scary, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean like it's interesting because especially against the right target because it's a 3-inch bubble of no like ward save. So like potentially if you can charge things on other sides, you can turn off the enemy's ward save, but like keep your ward save for units on the other side or something.
Yeah, it's mean.
Like you gotta be good to do that. But
I'll be right back. I gotta grab a charger, guys.
Well, honestly, I think we're good. Is there anything else? Don't leave yet, Young. Don't leave that.
No.
Is there anything else y'all want to discuss? We've been talking for about 2 hours. Does anyone in the audience have any questions? And do y'all have anything else you want to add? This is to y'all now. Do y'all have anything else? We talked about comp. We talked about list. We showed photos. We talked about the new. We talked about your event coming up. We talked about comp, photos, your event, GW recent things, the new Chaos book. I think that's good. Do you have anything else? Any closing statements in terms of tournaments or GW's outlook, or where do you think?
Yeah.
What you got? Hit me with something.
I think the only thing I want to say is thanks, Blue, for running Nova. It was really fun, and after all the trolls and everything, it was an amazing event. So really happy about it.
Did you say not the online trolls? Gotcha.
Yeah, gotcha. And in person,
Fair.
So
my pleasure. I had a great time running it. Honestly, to see the old world go from like 20-some people for Warhammer's Armies Project to more than doubling in size, almost tripling in size. For the old world was amazing, and to see all of y'all's display bases and set up, and I was ecstatic. It was like, ecstasy, ecstasy, basically.
Absolutely, thank you for running it, and thank you for doing other events, both of you, and hoping to keep the community alive. We're trying to do some here in Ohio too, so like,
cool.
It's a little. We don't have quite as big a community as the East Coast does, but yeah, I mean, I think the game is growing. I think the events are growing. I think this is what we need to be doing to get it in a good place. And I'm really looking forward to the next year and everything. And hopefully we have 100 players at Nova next year.
That'd be amazing.
And just you as judging again.
No, I can't. I could do it, but man, I don't know if I could do Ard
Nah.
Boyz and that. But I'll get
Yeah.
help. I'll get help.
Yeah.
So
I'm serious. If you want help, I'm down.
thank you. Let's
Yeah.
see. What do you guys think the two new armies are next year? I hope they do Empire. Wait, what do you guys think the two new armies are next year? And then he said rewording more factions.
So we know Empire and High Elves are next, right? They announced that, so it would have to be Wood Elves and
Yeah.
Beastmen, because those are the only two after that.
Last two that they're waiting
Unless they decide
for.
they're waiting for like second edition to do Wood Elves, because that's how Wood Elves roll.
Back in the day, yep, they'd always
Yeah.
get like the first, I think, codex of the new one, if I remember right.
Yeah, and then they'd wait like 3 editions or something.
Yeah.
I played more Wood games against Wood Elves in like 9 months of Old World than I did
Whoa.
in like
Really?
16 years of fantasy. Like
They were one of the hardest armies to run. They're like
Yep.
with all the skirmishing, it is a hard army to master.
Yeah.
But maybe not as much anymore because of the amount of other skirmishers in the game. But maybe. Well, I think that's it, guys. Thanks for joining. Obviously, thanks for all the praise. Thanks for showing up to Nova. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. We have a lot of supporters in terms of like prize support. So obviously, we got help from FLG Gaming. They gave me like a 40% discount to buy like 20 some battle mats, which is awesome. Someone from Gale Force 9, I still use their magnet sheets. I still have a bunch downstairs. They just reached out to me the other day and were like, hey, we want to send you a full desert board. So I was like, yes, please. I'll use it for my event. So there you go. But that's it. So thanks everyone for joining. And I'll post all the pictures that I just showed, and I'll post the results, and we'll get to it for the next one. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Blue.